Six Gun Productions. New media, new rules.
This is Geek News Radio, broadcast 74. For Saturday, December 8th, 2018. Real people aren't an option.
You're listening to Geek News Radio, episode 74. I'm Fab from Hamburg.
And I'm Dan in Liverpool.
Oh god, no, you can't do that. That's just, no, it's just completely driving me insane. Oh
no, I'm Dave in Birmingham.
That was a good show, wasn't it?
It was really, really good. I loved that episode. It was maybe my favourite.
Apparently you weren't the only one. People really liked it.
Yeah. There was a lot of feedback, really Dan being on it.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the most feedback I think we've ever had.
I'll try to get him back. Maybe, you know, people were saying you need to be on as well, so...
I totally want to be on. I just wanted one episode of Linux Outlaws.
Yeah, I can completely understand. I told Dan as well, right? And he was like, oh, that's cool. he got it as well. Before we start, there's an important thing. So listen up, everybody. Everybody, this is the captain. We're entering the rant cluster. Stow everything. All hands to battle station. The neighbors are having fun with me.
He's bought a fucking posh whistle.
A bosun's call. Call. It's not posh. It's like I got it really
cheap. It's a posh
cheap.
whistle. It's a fancy one anyway.
I learned.
And it's loud. Yeah,
I learned it. Well, it's loud because you use it on a ship, so it was used on the ship, so people can hear that you are about to give orders. I just recently learned what that is, and then I was like, "Oh God, that's the thing from Star Trek." You know, the do-dee-doo. So I had to buy one. Now I can annoy people.
Is it like a Navy surplus one?
It's from like a boating store.
Okay, so it's like an official boating thing, but
yeah. Apparently, you kind of need them if you do like sailing instruction things. You need to learn the different calls. There's like different calls. That's like that was like the all-purpose attention signal, I think. You know, it's basically listen up, everybody. Captain speaking.
There's fucking aliens, and I'm gonna fuck them.
There's really hard ones, like where you do like a trill kind of thing, where you go like with your tongue, and it's I can't do that, but I'll endeavor to learn.
Everyone in the building will really enjoy that.
Well, first of all, this like we got really big, like tough walls, so it's like you hear not a lot, but then it's like people have kids, like the kids are crying, totally. Like crying all the time, so they better, they gotta put up with my naval attention thing.
Well, if there's someone who's like always like a retired Navy person,
wakes
every
up
time you whistle, he's
like, wakes up from like his afternoon nap. Anyway, what are we drinking? What are you drinking, Dave?
I just finished a BrewDog sour thingy. It tasted like grapefruits, and it was really nice. But now I'm back on the Hop House 13 because I only had so much of that stuff.
Was it Elvis juice?
It wasn't Elvis juice. There's this new one. It's called like something Quencher. It's like Quick Quencher. Oh dear.
A thing.
What's it actually called?
Well, it's okay. The other one's more important because you're drinking that right now.
It's called Quench Quick.
Oh wow.
And it's grapefruit and tangerine, and it's good. It's nice.
And you're now drinking a Hop House 13?
Yeah, because it is legit. It's nice. It's just like one of those things that like appears to be everywhere, and it's quite nice.
Is the beer 13s like Hop House the brewery? No, it's a Guinness.
I don't know. I've seen some Guinness naming. Someone in marketing was like, "Oh man, they're making it in the 13th Hop House or something."
I didn't know it was. I didn't know it was Guinness.
Hop House 13 is named after the 100-year-old building where hops are still stored in St. James Gate. It's a Premier crafted lager, double hopped, blah, 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 blah.
Nice looking bottle.
So yes, it's named after a real thing where things are stored.
And it's a nice looking bottle. I like it.
It's good. It's nice. They got the kind of like nice aesthetic without going full kind of arty. Because I lose faith in craft beers when
Dave, you lose faith in almost everything.
I have got no faith.
Although I lost faith in Fallout this month, so we'll get to that.
That's fair. But like when there's a craft beer and it's like, okay, this is nice, and then like see the bottle and it's like, oh man, they've spent like a shitload of time designing this bottle and it's ridiculously arty. I'm like immediately like, why? Like I don't. Why?
Why though?
Why though? I'm basically just thinking, like, why have you spent so much time on this thing that I'm going to put in recycling?
In the bin.
Just like, fucking give me the Blando thing.
So I'm drinking...
Fucking old man.
I'm drinking a grog.
Grog.
Which is hot water with rum and sugar. I'm still getting over a cold. I had a very persistent cold, so when we were flying back, Katie on the plane got like the plane flu. Yep. And then I was like nursing her, and I was like, after 3 days later, I'm like, I think I managed for once, and I managed like to care for her without getting sick.
Nice.
And then like next morning, throat ache, completely failed, of course. Yeah, so I'm getting over that. So that's also like people have probably noticed that the show's been getting a bit irregular. It's I was in the US and then. Sickness and the job, and I'm preparing for going freelance at the end of the year, and it's all coming together.
It's exciting. Life is busy.
A lot to do, but it'll be better come January when I'm unemployed, basically.
Woo!
And we'll just sit here in my pajamas.
My theory is you're going to be sat in your underpants streaming Magic 22 hours a day.
It's a pretty good theory. I'm not
saying it. Sure it's a viable source of income.
It's not gonna be my pajamas, because I've already decided that the office policy will be people have to wear, in my office, in my company, which I'm the only employee, people will have to wear division correct Starfleet uniforms.
Oh my god. So is that why you're having one made?
My mother is making one, yes. So basically, she got a fancy sewing machine, and she was like, "Oh, she's been sewing things," and she's like, "We're looking for new stuff," and I'm like, "Oh, I'd love to have a Starfleet uniform." I said that like half in jest, and I had one when I was like 14 or whatever, and we gave it away when it's obviously too small, and so she's like, "Yeah, why not?" And so I ordered a pattern from roddenberry.com.
Oh, wow.
For the DS9 Voyager uniform.
Solid.
Because I always like that one, and it's also like pretty much the easiest one to make. My second one would have been the TNG one, and that's just like very involved. So and I got a communicator already, got rank pips, and mom's working. She sent me hilarious pictures of my dad modeling it. So she mocked one up. And it's like my dad wearing it. It's really good. I was cracking me up. Yeah, so that'll be the office wear for the stream. We just like that.
That sounds fantastic.
Yes.
Will not get abuse in the chat from that.
Well,
not at all.
You always get abuse. Doesn't matter. That's what I learned in 5 years in journalism. No matter what you do in public, you'll get abuse.
Probably.
Gotta get over that. Anyway, so today we're gonna talk about Dave being back on Twitter. Breaking news. Breaking news. Rise of industry again, I guess.
Yeah, it's like
you
a brief
just put
update,
that in.
But yeah, I snuck that in right at the end.
You have the power to edit the show notes now, and you're already using it. We're going to talk about Fallout 76 because I played that, and I'm writing a review. It's going to be out. It's going to be all out once this is published, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about Magic the Gathering.
Because this is the secret Magic the Gathering podcast.
It is now. People better get used to that. Magic the Gathering News Radio. MTGNR. It's actually not quite. It's not bad.
That's a very fucking long acronym.
It's like MTGA or MTGO. They always have long acronyms.
Yeah, I guess. I
was watching the Pro Tour. That was really cool. Anyway.
We'll get on to that.
We'll get on to that. First, Twitter.
Yeah. So, I I'm back on Twitter, and it is not good, but it's less bad.
It's like life, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like,
not good, but you kind of have to put up with it.
yeah, like...
Not living is also not an option.
Yeah, I guess that is the exact analogy. Like, turns out there are a lot of people on Twitter that I actually like talking to.
And we
I don't
like
have
to
any
talk to you.
Yeah, and there are some people that don't know anywhere else other than Twitter. And then I was just sort of farting around on Facebook. I was like, man, I only have Facebook because there are people here that I only have on Facebook. Why did I get rid of Twitter? Why is it one rule for the other? And so I was like, oh, maybe I should get the tweets back.
See, this is what I thought when you were going. It's like, why is he leaving? I mean, I got the leaving Twitter, right?
Yeah,
I got that, but I'm like, why is he staying on Facebook? It's just like that's not better.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I've kind of like I've wrestled the account name back from a friend.
It's good that he had that.
Yeah, it is. So basically, he looked up how long it would be after deleting an account, and then put a reminder in his calendar to register Mega Slippers. So after a little bit of shuffling,
a little bit of begging.
Well, I mean, I just asked for it, and he was like, "I'll do it when I get like home." I was like, "Cool." So I got it, and I just like followed loads of people that I was like, "Oh man, these people, I miss these people." And I'm kind of like, I don't know. I was thinking like what the strategy would be to like come back and to make it not make me super sad. And one strategy was to be just like, I'll just follow people and just like only ever reply to like things. So I could be like, there's a thing happening, and then I reply to them, and I never post anything like on its own. And I was like, nah, that's bollocks, because I'll have a beer and I'll start tweeting about trains. So that's obviously not going to happen. And then I was like, what do I actually want to like say? I thought I could maybe like revive the positivity boy thing that I did for a while and only tweet positive things, but then I'd be like, then I'd never tweet anything. So I'm kind of like, kind of trying to do it in moderation, in that like I'm not following 1 million people. Like I'm following about 10% of the number of people I used to follow, and I'm just muting. I've just muted stuff, like random phrases that like, if there's like a annoying meme format or like a thing, like a hot take thing, I just like fucking mute that, because I'm like, I don't care. Like, that's fine. I've seen it now. I don't need to see it 1 million more times. So I'm just kind of like being more liberal with the kind of like, I don't have to see all of the things, because I have people who I want to see like followed already, so it's fine. And so far it's going okay. I've tweeted some emo bullshit already, so that's pretty great about life, work. Oh, it's all terrible, but it's good. It's good. The first Monday back, I revived Man Returns from Holiday, hating his job thing, which I shall continue to retweet every Monday. It's good. I kind of like, the first thing I tweeted was basically like, the only thing worse than having the kind of stream of shit fired into your eyes on an hourly basis is not having it, because there's a lot, like, I thought, and for a while, to be fair, for like a good while, I just like had more free time when I did things, like read the news and stuff, or like read random tech things, or just like watched YouTube videos. But like eventually there's that like free time in your day, like, you know, you're on the loo or the bus or somewhere, and you just got this hankering to like make a hot take or like see other people's things. And I was like, I got bored. I was just so bored. there was so much.
Life is boring without Twitter.
Yeah,
things you learn on GNR. Dave was performing an experiment for your well-being, so you don't have to.
I didn't realize how much like small amount, like, you know, minute or so like of downtime like you have, and like without something to look at and to refresh, like it's just so tedious. You might have to talk to someone. I don't want to do that.
Real people aren't an option.
I don't want to talk to people at work. I'm just gonna read Twitter with my headphones on and when I'm making a coffee and not going to talk to people. So yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it. It hasn't made me hyper sad yet, so it stays. But it's good. It's fun. It's nice.
Cool.
I might have followed some potentially like some people who like get pretty deep into like anti-Brexit things. And I might have to unfollow them just because like it might get a bit too much. I might be like, oh Christ. But yeah, hopefully I'm not going to miss out on memes. Like there was one thing I noticed that like while I was away, I missed out on memes. I didn't know moth memes were a thing until
moth memes are a thing.
Moth memes. So like it's basically like all about moths are addicted to light, like a drug, and it's just like picture of some light thing and the moth's like, hell yeah.
Stoner moth.
Yeah, basically. And I was just like, I didn't know that fucking thing happened until there was like a BuzzFeed summary that I got sent. And I was like, okay, cool. I need to be back on the memes. I need to feel relevant and young and hip. So yeah, that's good.
By the way, before you, if you want to edit the show notes, just reload before because I put some stuff in.
Okay.
So one thing I just noticed, breaking news. No, it's not breaking news, but I just noticed and I thought I should mention again. So the Springsteen has been doing the Springsteen on Broadway thing for about a year and a half now, I think. I think it was only supposed to be like a month or two, and it was just so successful. And so he's putting out an album next month in December, and there's a concert recording of him doing it coming out on Netflix on December the 16th. So I'm pretty hyped for that. It's just basically the show is like him singing songs, but he also tells stories, I guess.
That's cool. Is it like American only, or is it going to be like here in the UK and Germany?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be. I've never seen a Springsteen thing that was America only.
Okay, cool. That's nice.
Except concerts on Broadway, but that's kind of wild because Broadway is in New York.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that he's putting that out, so I can, people can watch that as well.
So that sounds cool.
Also, you can listen to him talk, and you'll figure out that he's not pro Brexit.
No, I'm not. Yeah, right. So this happened on Twitter when basically, Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden fame. Was basically like, there's nothing to be worried about with Brexit, it'll be fine. And everyone's like, that's because you're rich.
That's what I was going to say just now.
Basically, he was saying that, like,
Hey, I have a plane, I can just fly over.
Yeah, so music people, touring musicians, are, like, a bit annoyed because currently any, like, European band or musician can go anywhere in Europe and do a gig. Whereas if we leave the EU, they'll have to do more admin. And Bruce Dickinson was like, it's not really an issue. And everyone's like, well, that's because you're rich and you pay someone to organise it. And then somehow Springsteen got brought up, and I was like...
I was just saying he's the better Bruce.
He's saying he's the better Bruce. And I was like, I wouldn't... At this point, I wouldn't count on him being anti-Brexit. Just because he's old, like I know he's like he's like a
Dave's being an ageist prick.
That is because statistically, old people are ruining my life.
Yeah, but I've listened to him talk since like
I know
or whatever. I'm pretty sure I don't think he has said anything about Brexit, but that's just because he's in the US.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure if somebody asked him, he'd be like, "That's a stupid idea."
If I forgot that he was a rich old man, I'd be like, yeah, he's obviously anti-Brexit. But then I remember, he's a rich old man. Who likes Brexit? Rich old man.
He is pretty reasonable for being a rich old man, I think.
Yeah, but he's not rich enough to be like of the strata of people who.
Yeah, but his whole brand is like working class hero. So I think he's giving his best to.
He's living his best life
to stay grounded. No, I seriously think that. I think he had some problems in the 90s, which he admits to. Like, there's two albums I really like. They're called Lucky Town and Human Touch. Mm-hmm. Two albums I really like. But like in the beginnings of the 90s, he moved to California.
Oh dear, that's a
and he was kind of living like the rich and famous lifestyle. And he wrote those albums. And today he's like, that was wasted time because it's they were obviously not in his like brand. I wouldn't say style because they're very much in his style, but like they weren't on brand. So I guess people really don't like them, but I really dig them. They're really happy. They're more happy than his other stuff. But yeah, anyway, I'm pretty sure he's pretty reasonable for being rich. So I'm looking forward to that. Kind to Netflix. Another thing Netflix good for.
Also, the anime Evangelion is coming to Netflix. So if people want to get super nihilistic, you can watch that.
I'm currently watching Next Generation, and it's very life affirming.
It's
Patrick Stewart. Just you would call it wholesome, I guess.
Yeah, it is wholesome, but like the other day,
he's also very good in pulling faces. The more I watch this, I mean, I've watched TNG so much, right? But it's like his face is so memeable. He's like, you can tell, especially in the first season, which is they're acting a lot more like they're on a stage.
Yeah,
and I think he's probably been told also to do like, theater acting basically.
Yeah,
and he does like this when he puts like his hand in his face, right? He does it for like a full 10 seconds, like for full effect. He's like, oh God, it's like, oh, why are people so dumb? Nice. And then Riker is really chirpy. It's like, and Picard's like, oh my God, what? Really good. They don't have a chief engineer. Season 1 of Next Generation is really weird because the Enterprise doesn't have a chief engineer. There's one guy called Argyle who pops up once in a while.
Yeah.
And then there's other people. And then there's like at some point there's an ensign. And in one episode there's an ensign in the engine room. And they like call down to the engineering. And she's got like white hair, right? She's like this, she's like 60. And I'm like, why is she still an ensign? Like, you'd at least have like ensign, She's not even a full, like, I mean, is she like in charge? Why is she in charge if she's an ensign? And it's like really sad. She's not like a full officer. It's like, couldn't like in her 40-year Starfleet career, couldn't they at least promoted her to Lieutenant Junior grade? Just like,
oh, she's probably involved in some timey-wimey bullshit. She's actually like chronologically like 20 years old.
she went through like a time warp.
Aged 40 years and came back.
That's probably it.
She's still an ensign, but she is now 60.
Either that or she worked like as a school teacher for 20 years and then just decide, okay, I'm going to join Starfleet now and become an engineer.
Or like stands too close to a tachyon beam or something.
Yeah, that's fucking. And like, it's really weird because Geordi is just like the helmsman, right? And he's like Lieutenant Junior grade, but still.
It is a very weird first season. There are lots of things that just change for season 2.
It also doesn't make it does not make sense. It's like so it's like they wanted him to be chief engineer, but didn't put him, because a lot of the time it's just like something happens in the engine room. They're called down. It's like, okay, they can't solve it, and Geordi goes like, I'm going down there. And that's what he does, like the other 6 seasons. Yeah,
right? It's weird. It's kind of like,
but it's like, why is this?
They wanted all the main characters to be on the bridge at all times. It's kind of the vibe
I mean, they have that later as well. Like, he's the chief engineer. A lot of the time he's on the bridge, right? And so then
but they kind of want them all to have like official bridge positions, right?
Well, that makes sense. So he runs back down. But why is the Lieutenant Junior grade like running down? And where's the fucking chief engineer? And also, he's not in ops. He's like in command division in the first season. It's like, what? He's like wearing red uniforms.
It probably gets explained in an extended universe.
Probably. I'm gonna miss Tasha though. Oh, I really like her.
Rip, press F.
She's good. Well, he comes back. Spoilers. Spoilers for Next Generation. Spoilers for the 80s.
Yeah, for like 20 something years ago.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about Rise of Industry.
Yeah.
So what was that again? Was that a board game? It's been so long,
Rise of Industry is the thing that I described as
the computer game.
The computer game. The capitalism.
Didn't we have the developer join?
We had the developer. So the developer is a lovely guy called Alex, goes by Master Penguin.
That's the first time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Actually joining our Discord.
He just like logs on and like, Dave, you're wrong. I'm like, okay. So my complaints, turns out, are entirely absolute bollocks. So my complaint about Rise of Industry is that it's got a very complex like economy, but I didn't see the point of doing anything other than getting rich and seeing a number get bigger, which is the point of video games. But I was a bit like, it doesn't feel fulfilling. Turns out I just can't read, or didn't read something, or missed something in the tutorial. But there is an end game screen in the game, and there are like some super complicated like things that you have to build called prototypes, and they're like, build a prototype car, or build a prototype computer, and there's something else, I think. And if you build one of those, like, the game ends and says, congratulations, here's your score.
Right.
Turns out I was entirely wrong.
So you were saying it was like just like a sandbox, right? So
yeah,
you just
I thought there was
that.
just like an aimless sandbox, and you did it. And then also in like a update that's coming soon, there's scenarios which are kind of exactly what I want, in that it is a small. So rather than having to build this monumentally complicated thing, because I've like watched a YouTube video of someone like doing a 20-part YouTube series, I skipped to the end, how to build like a car, and it involves like so many like resource harvesting, building like tier 1, tier 2, like increasingly more complicated components.
Turns out capitalism is actually really hard.
Yeah, no, it's really hard, and there's like the logistics of getting everything going like in reasonable time and like not losing money at the same time. It's really hard. So what they're doing, well, I don't know if there's more than one guy working on it. I don't know if Alex, I mean, I'm sure he'll just like tell us. But they're adding scenarios which are like smaller missions, which are basically like make a thing in a certain number of in-game years, or like do it like, you know, put some arbitrary conditions, like arbitrary constraints on the problem, and then that just sounds really cool to me. So I rebought the game because I Steam
Awesome.
Steam refunded it. I played it with the I'm like, okay, now I know what I'm doing, and then like I immediately fucked up and like lost all my money because I'm terrible.
So the Valve, the Valve analyzing computer is just going, what the fuck? Why
has he bought it twice?
What's going on?
Yeah,
Algorithm is destroyed.
I think there's been it was in like some of the more recent sales, and I think Nicholas has picked it up or is going to pick it up.
It's not logical.
It's yeah. Once I know that there's a point to it, I'm like, oh, okay,
This reminds me. This sounds like a story. You know, on Crate and Crowbar, once in a while, it's mostly Tom Francis because he doesn't read. Like he skips text, and he
I do that all the time.
Admits to that, and it's just like the way he plays games. And he's like, he doesn't have much free time, so he doesn't give games much time. Like if they can't like get him in like half an hour or whatever, he's like, okay, gone. And it's like one of his stories where he just didn't read something and then played the game completely wrong, and then somebody just writes in, or it's just like somebody else, or it's like that's not how to play this game, Tom. It's not a stealth sim.
So that was my Tom Francis moment. I was like, oh, actually, I'm really wrong. And it's kind of cool that he jumped in, and like they've got a Discord which is like super busy. Like the Discord is mad busy, and he does like periodic, quite frequent, like video diaries of like the development and what's coming up and what's being released, and like you can like report issues and stuff, and it's just like quite a really cool. Like I had no idea all this development was not happening in the open, in like an open source sense, but in like a
lots of
very,
games doing this on Discord now, stuff like
very
this.
accountable to the audience, taking loads of feedback and like chatting with people. I mean, it's not going to scale well to like a AAA game because that will literally be the worst.
No, I mean lots of like
but like indie games, this seems like super cool.
Yeah.
And like I've been sort of like I've been watching the videos and it all sounds great, and like the thought behind all of it is really cool. So yeah, I retract my statements on Rise of Industry.
Listen up, everybody. Listen up. Dave was wrong.
Yeah. Hopefully that's the last time I'm wrong this episode. But Fab, I've got a segue. Do you know what is wrong? Fallout 76.
Yeah, hey, Fallout 76. I think I'm right on this.
I think I was right, because I said like, man, this looks bobbins.
Well, I think you did, but I was like, I'm such a Fallout fan. I was gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. And if you go to,
I was getting a little bit hyped before it. Like I was like in the pre-launch kind of like, yeah, this could be cool. This could be actually kind of nice. And then like see the reviews like, oh fuck no.
I think I gave it more time of the day than most other reviews did. So if you go to fab.industries, you will find my blog, and there is right now, as we record this, only 3 parts, but there will be a 4-part review in progress. So I was reviewing this as I was playing it, and you can see the curve. Like if you read all 4 parts, you can see the curve of me being really excited because I was just in Las Vegas. And when you drive into Vegas, we drove through the Mojave Desert, which was great, in a Dodge Charger RT Hemi, best car ever. I want a Dodge Charger now. And we were driving through the desert, and I was thinking, like, this is like Fallout New Vegas. And you drive into Vegas, and there's like Prim that you drive through on the way, and it looks exactly like in the game. And then so on the way back. By the way, there's also like this really mad. You played New Vegas, right?
Yes.
There's this solar powered thing that you can take over, and then you can it's like lots of mirrors.
Yeah, that focus it on a big tower, right?
Yep. So those things that exists.
Yeah, they're real.
So there are 3 of these towers, and they're weird. It's like this. It's like a water reservoir on top of a tower.
Yeah, so like the mirrors focus light onto the water, and it boils it, and it makes steam
and then there's like a Siemens steam turbine in a.
It's really cool. Plant. Like someone was like, "We're gonna get loads of fucking mirrors, and we're gonna boil water."
It's really cool if you drive through the desert and look at that. It looks like you're on another planet. It looks like you're on Mars.
Oh yes, it's like loads of the kind of like 70s. 60s, 70s, and those kind of like pulp sci-fi magazines and novels that are magazines, use those as like art in them, and it's just like so cool. It's like this amazing genre of...
Yeah, and it's pretty new. It's like from 2000, it's like 10 years old or something.
It's like one of those things that it's just like, it's a common thing that's used in sci-fi, and I never stop finding it cool.
Yeah, I mean the thing's new, like the power plant.
Yeah. Because they're pretty. If you've got enough sun, they're pretty cool.
So anyway, on the way back, I thought, well, 10 minutes off the highway, here's Good Springs, right? Mm-hmm. And I drove to Good Springs, and this is the town you start in New Vegas, and it looks exactly the same. There's like the thing on the hill, the pub.
More ruined.
Well, it looks very similar. There's like the pub look exactly. It's amazing. So I came back from that trip and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I'm really happy for Fallout. And then I started playing the game and I was like, okay, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And if you read through the whole thing, you will notice me getting grumpier and grumpier. And it's just shit. So basically, I tried to play it as a single player game because they kind of said you could.
Yeah.
And you kind of can. So you're on a server and like there's a story and whatever, and you can use like normal Fallout, but then there's like people running around, right? And they're all from the vault. Yeah. Problem is, so the PvP is like really toned down. So if you attack somebody, they take nearly no damage, but they do take damage.
Isn't there like some sort of PvP flag that you can sell or something?
No. It's just like as soon as you fight back, PvP is enabled and then everybody takes normal damage. Okay. But so I was like, I'm not going to interact with people, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting in front of like this terminal. I'm like reading lore, right? And I noticed like these red splotches on the monitor. So I wasn't wearing my headphones. Put my headphones on. Turns out the guy shoots me in the head. Kept shooting me in the head. And then I attacked him. And then I realized, okay, start PvP. I killed him. And then his friend came around. Killed me.
That's very immersive.
Not really problem because like you only drop your junk.
Yeah.
Like as in the stuff you're carrying, not your penis.
Yeah.
That would be weird. And so that's not a big loss, but whatever. It's just stupid. Like you don't need to attack back, but then like you only take a little bit of damage. But if they're really intent on killing you, they're going to kill you anyway.
Yep.
And yeah, it's not immersive at all. PvP is really shit if you engage in it. It's like it's not good. Like it's really weird that if they had just like PvP and PvE servers, that would be okay. Mm-hmm. But they don't have that, and then it's like this watered down thing, and the PvP isn't good, to be honest. Like it's not like if you play PUBG is a much better shooter, and
yeah. So like I've got like 2 questions, and like these are the 2 things that stopped me when I was feeling like a bit of hype about it. Is the first one is that like I kind of knew because like obviously it's real time and there are other people, so you can't have like VATs.
There is VATs. It doesn't do the slow mo effect.
Yeah, but like VAT still slows down time while you're trying to select things, though, right?
It doesn't slow down. But it basically
no, but like in like Fallout 4.
In Fallout 4, yes, but in 76 it doesn't do that. It's just
so that was like
but it still works. It's still overlay, and you can select body parts, and you can shoot at people. So you tend to use it when they're farther away, and then you just get it.
Do it in the same kind of frequency as you do with 3 and 4.
You do, but it's
I used it all the time because it was like, well,
you use it all the time as well. It's just you use it differently. You don't use it in melee. You use it, or you can actually. It works as well. It gives you a massive aim bonus.
Okay.
So it's basically auto aim.
The kind of change of it not slowing down time was like, well, okay, I'll just shoot things. And the other thing is that, am I correct in thinking there are no human NPCs?
So this is the problem. That's not even the biggest problem. Like, the problem is they took basically. So in the story. It's really a bit weird because the area is not devastated. Like there are no nukes went off. Lush. I guess it's really lush. It's got, there's like toxic areas and stuff. There are areas that aren't as lush, but like there weren't really so much nuclear devastation on most of the map. But all the humans are dead, and this is only 25 years after the Great War. Apparently, there's like some disease, and so it turned all the humans into basically ghouls, but like they're like feral ghouls. They're not can't talk to them.
They're more zombie than
ghouls. So they're basically the Raider faction, and then there's nobody else. There are robots that you can talk to, but you don't have a multiple. Like you can't really talk to them. You just initiate conversation, and they talk to you.
Yeah,
it's not a conversation system. The problem with that is so. The problem with the game is that I think they couldn't make up their mind, right? So the other player interaction doesn't make up for having no NPCs.
Yeah.
Because one problem is they enable microphones by default. Mm-hmm. So I was in the character creator and just heard like a guy fighting with his girlfriend. And he obviously had no idea. Then another time I heard like the German intro playing in the background of the game, because somebody had his mic open, and then some people obviously don't realize. Once they realize, they turn it off. There's no push to talk, although they said they're gonna patch that in, but that's gonna be too late, I guess. There's no text chat, so you're basically not gonna talk to people, and then there's no interaction with them, and so it doesn't. It's not good enough to create stories either. Not like PUBG, where like the game itself creates stories.
Yeah,
it doesn't do that. So then the problem is right. If that was the thing, then you'd be like, okay, it just doesn't have stories. The problem is, it has probably the best map of any Fallout game. Mm-hmm. If Fallout 4 had this map, it'd be amazing. It's huge. It looks better because it's not all like gray and brown. Yeah. It's very color. Varied. It's nice. It has detail. So the map is like a single player. You know how in Fallout there's like these houses, and then you go downstairs, and there's like they tell stories in the environment.
Yeah,
just things. It has all of that everywhere. Mm-hmm. So as far as I can tell, the map's as detailed as Fallout 4. It's just like 4 times as big. So that's great.
No people in it.
It just has no people in it because they're all dead. Now, it has all the stories, so there's lots of stories like in terminals, and there's lots of side quests, but they fall flat because there's no people. Like you, at some point, there's like a side quest where you investigate like a murder or something, you know? Like in Fallout 4, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. But it's like because everybody's dead, there's no stakes. It's like you discover it, but you're like, okay, they've been dead for 10 years anyway, so who cares? There's no people who are like, oh, nice that you figure that out, lone wanderer.
Yeah. So,
whatever.
Like, I've been thinking about like the bits because I've been on a bit of a Skyrim binge, and I'll probably talk about that at some point, but not this episode. And I was thinking maybe I should go back to Fallout 4 again and like just put the combat on super easy and just like do it for the story. And then I was thinking that that's like exactly kind of why I don't think Fallout 76 would really be for me, because like
it's not.
The bits I like in the Fallout games are the bits that make it feel busy. And not because I find Bethesda games, to me, there's environmental storytelling, but they kind of end up feeling kind of sterile in a kind of weird way, and I don't know. I've never really been able to work out why, but like after a while, it just feels like, man, this world is kind of empty. The things I like in it are the people, like the robot detective, and like the not the Inquisition, the robot synths underground, those guys.
Yeah, like, the Institute.
the Institute, yeah, like they're all really cool, and then you got like the big fucking like the Brotherhood of Steel, and they're all like the characters. Like if there was like a Mass Effect mode where it's like I can turn off combat and just do these fun stories, it would be great. And then Fallout 76 is like, oh no, all of this is now audio diaries. And,
well, you
and
would like
text.
76 because the combat is comically easy, and if I say you can't select difficulty, right? And I play all games on easy. If I find it easy, it's just like laughable for everybody else.
But then like there's no people.
There's no people, so you would find it sterile. I don't think it is sterile. I actually love Fallout 4 and all the other Fallouts for the fact when you're lonely. I love that. When there's no people around. The areas where there's no people around, like the blasted waste, stuff like that. You know, I love that. But I only love that because you come back to a town.
Yeah, like you have Megaton in the wasteland
so
to provide context for why everyone's in this location because everywhere else is shit. If there's nowhere anyway, you're like...
So this doesn't work. And it's really sad because I think, when we talked about Fallout 4, we're like, okay, the map could have been better and there could have been better locations. You were saying that, right? Or a lot of people were actually saying that. And the thing is, like, if they had just waited and done this map with Fallout 4's story and the characters, it would have been the best Fallout game by far. It would have blown Fallout 3 out of the water. It would have been amazing. Absolutely amazing, breathtakingly great. And
the screenshots of like fighting lads in places that have greenery and like not just...
Oh, there's like an area that is just like, those...
But like those screenshots, like, they were getting me hyped. I was like, man, maybe this is it. Maybe
they're the only better areas. There's like...
Maybe the thing I hated about Fallout was just that it was grey and brown.
If you look at the third part of my review, there's screenshots in there from... It's an area... those... like in some national parks in the US, they have like these hot water saline springs where like everything's like really rainbow colored. Where nothing can live because it's like all alkaline and it's what I mean.
Like and the salt flat kind of things, but not salt flats. Yeah,
but the colorful ones. And there's an area that's like that. It's great. There's an area that looks like a forest where it's like all these mushroom creatures.
You got there's one where you're like showing the on your blog. There's one where you're showing like the display settings, and behind there's like this amazing like red forest.
Autumn, it's so good.
That's so pretty.
It looks so good, but they fucked that up. It doesn't work without the people, and then it just has unexcusable things. So I'm playing right, and my controls lock up. But I mean completely, like my mouse doesn't work, and I'm like, what? And I try like my keyboard doesn't work. I'm like, what is this? I thought like, did my USB thing just die? My USB in my computer, did the interface die? What happened here? And then like this thing pops up, server not responding. It says, server not responding. Controls have been temporarily disabled. And temporarily in this case meant 2 minutes. Like if you're in an area that's like toxic or whatever, you're dead. Like even if you're in a fight, even 10 minutes.
Time is happening, just you can't do anything.
I don't think time was happening for any of the players. But like if there's computer enemies around, I guess they'll just kill you. And it just, I mean, they did some patches, but I still had that happening like last week when I tried it. Not so long, just 10 seconds or so, but it's still bloody annoying. It's like fucking, this is worse than PUBG. I didn't think you could get worse than PUBG. And this is a fucking AAA game.
So like these are kind of like some of the fears that I was having, like when they said that we're taking it like online, is that like, okay, so if I have to have an internet connection and it goes away, which,
my internet connection didn't go away. So this problem happened. So seriously, this problem happened several times, right? And I was like, I've never, since I moved here, I've got a fiber to my home connection, right? It's really good. I never had any problems with online games. So I'm like, I put like, I've got network hardware. I have a Linux server here. I did basically, I fired up like my network inspection stuff. And I just locked traffic while I played it, and kept making sure that other things,
right.
ping things, so I can like stream some other packets, so I can see that they're working. And this happened again several times. And looking at the logs, it's clear that it's the Bethesda servers. Mm-hmm. Like everything else was not affected. So I think this is server issues.
Like, so I'm gonna sound like a crotchety old man, but like it's this kind of like, this feels like, oh god, it was like, in the mid 2000s and stuff, when like always online games were like becoming a thing, in more than just like a multiplayer kind of sense, in a kind of like, it's a single player game but you need to be online. So like it was Assassin's Creed 2 that had the huge controversy and people boycotting it, because on PC it was always online to as like the Ubiplay DRM. And like I feel like it's just the same thing again, right? Because like Fallout games are like classics and people like going back to play them. Like people still go back and play Fallout 3. Like obviously they still go back and play Fallout 1 and 2 and whatever, but like in terms of the Bethesda ones, people are still going back to play a game that came out in like fucking 2008, 9? And you just wonder, like, is that going to be possible with Fallout 76?
I actually don't think it's the same thing, because generally people have figured out how to do these games, and they don't have as many issues as people are afraid they would have. So generally this always on stuff works pretty well.
But like,
I think the problem is that just Bethesda apparently can't do it.
Well, yeah, so that's I can't assume developers are competent, because like I've met developers.
No, that's not the problem. I'm just saying, like, if you play games like this, they work. Like as the newest Assassin's Creed, they're always online games. They work.
I don't mean like now. I mean like in 10 years' time, when people want to do what they're doing now with like Fallout 3.
In 10 years' time, the servers will be off. Like,
so the servers are going to be off. So either that means I can't play it, or someone has to mod it to, like, hack it to make it work offline.
I don't think that'll work, because I think the world's on the server. I don't think, like, yes, you are right, but, like, to be honest, like, I don't care about in 10 years. Like,
I don't know, because I think the idea that I can go back and play Fallout 3 is nice. Like, it's good.
Yeah, but okay.
In a thing where your experience is predominantly single player, the kind of like being told you have to be online is kind of bullshit. Because like,
I completely understand your point. I just think it's completely beside the point, because these are all valid issues you're raising, right? They're all valid problems. They're problems with always online games that work. This is just the kind of game that you won't be able to play in 10 years or in 15. There are games like that. We know that they turn off the servers and you can't play anymore.
But it's annoying because I'm still playing Skyrim.
That is a problem. Yes, that is a valid problem, but I don't think that's what we should be focusing on here. The point is, there are games like this, they have these problems, but they work and they're great games, right? So I play PUBG, I really like PUBG. I know that they might turn off the servers in 10 years and I won't be able to play it, but right now it's a good game, right? We'll talk about Magic the Gathering Arena later. That's a game like that. I might not be able to play it in 10 years, but now it's great. It's a great game. The problem with Fallout 76 is they did this, like normally they did this and you have these downsides, but you get a great game for it. It's just a different kind of game. The problem with Fallout 76 is it's a shitty game.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of like maybe what I'm trying to get to, is that they've, by trying to do this thing differently, by trying to give you this new online experience, which has resulted in it breaking the thing I quite like about going back to like the older ones, they've not actually given you anything new and good.
Yeah, but
like,
I'm not. Yeah,
they've taken away the thing I like, and they've tried to give you a new cool multiplayer thing that you can do with online games. But they've not actually delivered on that. So what they've done is like,
you're completely correct there. But the thing is, I don't think they broke it because they made an online game out of it. Not inherently. I don't think.
No, but
I wouldn't say you
the thing they have done is
So my point is, I don't think. So what they did, this is an experiment. They tried to take Fallout online. That's what they said. I don't think that inherently is a bad idea. And I don't think they've proven that doesn't work. I think they've proven that they can't do it. And I think, I'm going to this is all like speculation, obviously, but I think what happened was the following thing. So they had two things at Bethesda. They were saying, first off, we have Elder Scrolls, we have Fallout, right? And there's all these online games like Fortnite, whatever. They're making a lot of money. We want to make a game like this. Let's have an experiment. And they were like, okay, let's do it with Fallout for whatever reason. I think probably because it fits better with the fiction. I don't know. And then they were also saying, well, it's been 3 years since the last Fallout game. And we're working on Elder Scrolls 6 now, so there won't be a Fallout game for a long time. So let's put this out in the middle here. And I think what they did is they took Fallout 4, made a really good map, and then slapped all this stuff together. Because of business reasons, because of business decisions. I think they wanted a game now, and they wanted an experiment. And I think they always experiment with Fallout. I mean, the Shelter game, when they did an online game, like a mobile game, they did that with Fallout and not with Elder Scrolls. So I think that is the problem. I don't think inherently what they tried to do is bad. I think how they did it is bad. They slapped it together. That's a half-assed thing. It's way too expensive for what it is. I mean, not anymore because it's already discounted everywhere.
There was what was awesome is that there was a deal to buy an Xbox One, and there's like a Fallout bundle, and it was cheaper to buy the Xbox One with Fallout than it was to buy just a normal Xbox
they discounted it a week after it came out on Black Friday sales, which is kind of slap in the face if you like me bought it for the full price.
I'd be grumbling.
I'm not. I mean, I see this part here also as like a. Yeah, I mean, even I'm not freelance yet, but it's kind of a business expense. Always been like I always buy these games also because I want to write about them and I play. I want to talk about them on the podcast, so I'm kind of taking a bullet for the team, I guess. So I'm not bad because of this. I'm just like I'm not sad because of that. I'm angry because I really love Fallout, and I'm really angry because I don't understand how Bethesda Fallout has always been a hit. There hasn't been a Fallout game that wasn't critically well received. Think including Fallout Shelter, I guess.
Yeah, people love Fallout Shelter.
And this was true before Bethesda had Fallout. I mean, even Fallout Tactics, for Interplay as well. But like even Fallout Tactics, which was a change and which some people didn't like, was pretty well received. And this is a disaster. This is like, I can look it up now. It's probably gotten better, but it's like if you look this up on Metacritic, Fallout 76. It's at 2.9 out of 10 for user score and 55 out of 100 for review scores.
That's low for reviews.
PC Gamer gave this 60. 60. 60. PC Gamer, when's the last time you can remember PC Gamer giving 60 to a AAA game?
Yeah, not really.
I mean, PC Gamer, they waited a long time. They didn't review in progress as well, and I think they were kind of waiting for them to fix it with patches or whatever. But it's like, I mean, there are people who reviewed this a lot worse, but I think it's an unmitigated disaster. It's on sale everywhere, so obviously it isn't selling. They're just trying to shift the copies. I mean, it's not on Steam. That's probably lucky for Bethesda because they would have gotten their ass handed to them in Steam reviews. I mean, that would probably have been the most negative AAA game launch in the history of Steam.
Yeah. How do you actually buy it on PC then? Because I never actually got that far. Like, what do you have to...
You go to Bethesda, you make an account. I mean, you could buy... I guess you could buy like on Amazon, download or whatever, a physical copy or whatever. But you get like their launcher. They have their own launcher
really?
now, and then you buy it. And it's horrible. That launcher will get deinstalled, and I don't think I'll ever. The next Elder Scrolls needs to be really good for me to get back to that launcher. I mean, it's just just a clusterfuck all around. I'm really mad because I like Fallout. How could they fucking like it needs to take a lot for them to break it. Also, it's like it doesn't. I mean, it looks good in screenshots, but basically it's a Fallout 4 engine. And there's lots of effects, depth of field effects, and the photo mode's quite nice, but it's like lots of blur effects, and like if you see it running, you see it basically looks like Fallout 4. It just looks a lot better because the environments are more colorful.
You sound so happy.
They fucked it up.
They did, and it's sad.
I mean, this is the worst AAA game launch I've seen in ages. This is like, why had it happen? I mean, everybody, what's going on? Everybody's fucking it up. BioWare, like I used to love their stuff, right?
Yeah,
they're fucking it up.
This is a worse launch than Mass Effect Andromeda.
No, Mass Effect Andromeda, they fucked up now. What Anthem or whatever they're doing, which is total bullshit online game that nobody wants to play. Bethesda is now fucking it up. I mean, there were the last 2 AAA studios, right? Seriously, like before Andromeda, right? If you'd ask me, what are the AAA studios that you will buy their games without, like, you will pre-order their games and just buy them? Who do you trust? Who's like really good, makes really good games? I would have said BioWare and Bethesda. And in a year, in the time span of a year, they both managed to destroy that reputation. What the fuck? Why can't they just make another Fallout? Another good Fallout? Why couldn't they just have New Vegas 2?
Or just
sells money in the bank.
This, if they'd done, because like the kind of idea of like everyone sort of like leaving the vault to do stuff, like if it was just like a Fallout 4 but just Fallout 5, if it was just if they had people in it and it was offline and it was just like another Fallout game, I'd have probably bought it and got bored, but I'd have bought it and I'd have enjoyed some of it.
I think people would have loved it. The problem is they look at Fortnite and everybody wants to be Fortnite now. They're greedy fucking bastards, right? The fucking millions they reap with this shit just isn't enough. No, millions isn't enough. We need to make hundreds and hundreds of millions. And I mean, look, single player games sell. Look at Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah, that sounds nice.
You know, and that's also another problem. Like, this is why Fallout 76 gets completely destroyed, because it launches like right after Assassin's Creed Odyssey and then Red Dead Redemption 2, which are 2 open world games which are amazing. By everything I can tell.
Yeah, it's God, it's just a mess.
It's really a fucking disgrace.
It's gonna be one of those ones I think we'll just forget about.
I won't forget about this. I won't. Like, I'll be. You know me. I'll be butthurt over this for the next 20 years. I won't forget this crap.
But it'll be alright, because like in 10 years' time you can't play it, so you won't be able to try. So.
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to play it anymore. I'll just.
In 20 years' time, you're like, man, was it as bad as I thought? You'll be like, I can never know.
Well, next Fallout game comes out, I'll be like, well, I'm not buying that on launch. Seriously.
I mean, yeah, I've kind of.
You better make sure that that's a fucking good game if you want me to ever buy fucking Fallout again, and if you ever want me to reinstall that fucking launcher of yours. My God. What's wrong with using Steam, you fucking idiots? Yeah, must have our own launcher. Not invented here.
Well, not paying the money. Not paying the commission.
Well,
basically.
yeah, paying the commission for a fucking infrastructure that fucking works.
Yep, and you didn't have to develop it. They don't have to maintain it. They don't have to develop it. They don't have to do shit.
I mean, it's not like these people are running their own servers, right? Their fucking game servers are in AWS. They don't have They don't have their own like server farm. You know, they're paying people for that. That's a lot of money. I don't know. I don't want to know how much money they're paying Amazon for that shit. That's disappointing.
It is sad. It is.
Let's talk about a good game.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering. Woo!
Probably the best game ever made.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it's pretty good.
I'm pretty sure it is. No, seriously, I think it's really good.
I think it's really good. Honestly, I can't say what the best game ever is, because like I'll just pick a new one tomorrow.
Well, you can't. So this experience I had, you can't have because you're not old enough. Mm-hmm. But just try to imagine So I went away, and literally 20 years later, I think exactly 20 years later, I go like, oh, well, that game I used to play, 20 years ago, that's still around. And they have an online game now that looks good. Let's try that. And like 2 weeks later, or like 2 days later, actually, I'm like completely hooked again. I don't think there are many games where after 20 years you can come back and you're like, wow, this is still interesting. This has changed, but also it kind of hasn't. Like, I still know most of the rules, the basic rules. I didn't know any of the keywords. I didn't know what the fuck a planeswalker is.
The best thing is that mana burn doesn't exist anymore.
Depends on how you're building your deck.
No, mana burn, the mechanic doesn't exist. So mana burn was if you generated too much mana and didn't spend it in a phase, you got dealt damage equal to that.
Really? I can't even remember that.
In your first main phase, you tap 10 lands, don't spend any of it, and you go into combat, you take 10 damage.
What?
That was a thing.
Was this around in the 90s? I can't...
Yep. I think it got removed in N10, so in 2009, 8,
okay,
2010. So yeah, that was a thing. So that's one of the nice things. And like,
so I thought you were talking about Mana Screw. There's still Mana Screw.
No, because Mana Screw is like a specific design thing that Mark Rosewater and all of the other developers are on record saying that is that is intentional.
Yeah.
The variance of that is there on purpose. But so like, it's really good. What I kind of like is that I've had like that in a kind of little microcosm. In that the last time I stopped playing in Theros, which was like,
wow. I'm just listening to Rosewater's podcast where he's talking about Theros. That was like 2014 or something.
Yeah, so that's when I stopped playing, but the bit I really got in, so I only played Magic like a lot for like quite a short period of time, but I played a lot of it. So I got in at the end of the Innistrad block, so with Avacyn Restored, and then I left with Theros. But the kind of like so the kind of sweet spot where I played the most Magic and like gave the shit the most was in the Return to Ravnica block or cycle. And then I've come back now.
Where it should feel right at home.
And we're back in Ravnica, and it's like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. All the guilds.
So I didn't know all of this because obviously I didn't play for 20 years. And when I was playing it, so I remember. So to me, it was weird getting back in that all the cards have black borders.
Oh, I love the black borders.
Because I was playing with, I remember my cards were mostly white bordered cards.
Because white borders were reprints.
Right. And I just, I was a kid. I didn't have that much money. I didn't really buy a lot of booster packs. I had a lot like from starter boxes and whatever. Mm-hmm. So like basically what used to be the core set back then was like starter boxes, I think. But there were the reprints. How the core set now is basically reprints as well.
Yes.
And so it was kind of like that. So I didn't really have a lot of expansions. I didn't really know how the expansions worked. And I didn't really know until now. I didn't know how Magic worked. That like they keep changing like those rules. They put mechanics in,
and then they're just of cycles.
In for a block, and then they're gone again for a few years, and they turn back up, and it's like. Yeah, it blew my mind. Everything blew my mind. I didn't know there was a Pro Tour.
Yeah, the Pro Tour thing. What blows my mind is that I
didn't know that the second best Magic the Gathering player ever lives in Hamburg.
What blows my mind is
I dream of meeting him now, like in the subway or something.
The Pro Tour has been around for long enough that they were like still like. Primary resources for results and stuff was like magazines.
I remember that actually, the Duelist and all that.
Which is wild. Like, because in my mind it's like an internet thing, right? Obviously the Pro Tour exists because of streaming. Like, no. The Pro Tour exists because of like people wanted to play Magic a lot.
They kind of invented organized play, didn't they?
I mean, I think they just sort of copied, like, lots of poker players also play Magic.
Yeah. I completely know that, but like organized play, as in you have a game system, right?
Yeah, in terms
and you
of,
organize all these Grand Prix and whatever. I mean, they copied other sports, but I think they were the first game to do that. Like the first, like, you know, geek.
They are. I guess, yeah, they're the first ones to like take it super seriously. And do it well, I think, is the other key thing. Because, I mean, I remember on Angels of Death, me talking about what I wanted Games Workshop to do, and it was to be Magic the Gathering, be Wizards in terms of running events that are running events that are competitive and having judges and like streaming things.
They are so much better than Games Workshop, I feel.
That's because they make a lot more money than Games Workshop.
Yeah, I guess, but not even on that. Like, I think creatively. So basically,
I entirely disagree, but sure.
So I've been listening to this, right? I've been listening to Maro's podcast a lot, and he talks about all this, their creative process and all that. And I came to realize that basically, Magic does every few years or regularly does right what I hated Games Workshop doing about Warhammer. So I've come to analyze. We talked about this a lot. Why I don't like Age of Sigmar, which is basically the lore, right? And I came to
still exists. That's fine. We won't talk about that again because it all still exists. All those lore still exists.
I'm not talking about the old lore. I'm talking about the new lore. I think the new world they created, I didn't like, right? And I came to realize.
You don't play Warhammer, so it's fine.
I came. No, I read the books. I never played Warhammer. I never played Warhammer Fantasy Battles either, but I liked the world, right? I like to read the books and all that. And I came to realize that my problem is not that they wiped the old world, that they killed that. My problem is that the new world they created didn't feel like a world, like with all the planes and all that. And I realized the multiverse that Wizards has done for Magic, right? It's the exact same thing, except they make it feel like a real place. They have a multiverse. They're just jumping from one place to another so they can do like very different crazy things. Still, Ravnica feels like a world. It's really cool.
I just disagree because Age of Sigmar to me feels like a world.
Like really, the cities, whatever.
Yeah, but the more books they write, the more world they build. Like the problem is we're comparing. So we're comparing a thing that came out in 93 to something that came out like 3-4 years ago.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm comparing.
There is less written.
No, I'm comparing. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm right now. I'm reading really old Magic books from like 95, whatever. I'm reading like the Ursa. The Artifice Cycle.
I cannot stand those.
Because I read those when I was a kid in German, some of those. And no, I'm talking about, I was reading Magic books in like 95, right? Mm-hmm. And back then, they did the same thing Games Workshop is doing now. So they started with everything being on Dominaria, and it wasn't even called Dominaria. They didn't have a multiverse. They didn't have planes, right? And then they were like, okay, we're going to create planes. And their creation process back then in the 90s to me is better than Games Workshop doing it now, which is amazing because I think Games Workshop should have just looked at what they did in the 90s and did the same thing and do it the same way. I don't know what they did. I'm still trying to realize like the how they did it. So that's one of the reasons I'm reading the book. Also, they're really good. Like I'm reading the Brothers War right now. It's really good. I hadn't expected this. I kind of thought the books were shit. But, like, I only read 2 so far. It's like the first one, what's the one before the Brothers was? Like with the Phyrexians, like the origin story of the Phyrexians. The Thran, it's called. It's really good. It's a lot better than a lot of Black Library stuff that isn't Horus Heresy.
I think it's just, like, so naff. Like, I think a lot of the lore doesn't really like hold up if you look too close at it, and I was like, it's fine. I'm just going to cast some spells. There are wizards. It's cool.
No, they're not casting any spell. Like the Brothers Wars, like this. It's not even color. They haven't even discovered. It's not the colors of magic or anything.
No,
it's basically artifacts.
I am gonna cast some spells. I'm not gonna think too hard about the lore. Like I think it.
I don't agree with that. I think Age of Sigmar is actually worse there.
I enjoy Age of Sigmar's lore, and I don't play the game. Whereas Magic, I play the game despite the lore. In that a lot of it, I think, is kind of bollocks. I don't really care about.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like a lot. So some of it is just like, yeah, Ravnica is probably for me like the top tier niceness, and then a lot of it just feels like kind of like rippy offy fantasy stuff that I'm like, it's fine.
Like
it's passable.
Warhammer.
Yeah, no, but that's the yeah. I guess we're gonna never agree on this because you like it and I don't. And I think
no, I'm
never gonna convince you that. Just
it's not about convincing. I mean, we're talking about this because we're talking about this. I don't want to convince you. That's not the point. I'm trying to figure out where you come from.
So it's
like, for example, in Age of Sigmar, I have no idea where the cities are, what the geography is, whatever. Right?
How many Age of Sigmar books have you read though? That's the thing. Like,
I gave up after a lot, but after a few.
I think you gave up after like they announced Age of Sigmar. Like, there are a lot of good books in Age of Sigmar. There are also a lot of bad ones because it's like...
Well, but it's not only the books, right? I read a lot of other stuff as well that they have on the website and stuff like that. You know, I do read... There's other ways to read laws.
Like...
The fucking wiki. The fucking wikis have no idea where city A is in regard to city B because they don't talk about this. Like, on the magic thing... I was looking this up, right? I was like, oh, so how are the continents on Dominaria? So I Googled Dominaria map, right? And there's a fucking, Wizard apparently has been blogging since like 2004 about everything they do. So there's a fucking article about a guy who's like, okay, so this is how the cartography of Dominaria works. And he's like, so, okay, when I started working at Wizard at like 2004 or whatever, I walk into this guy's office and he's got like a globe on his desk, right? Mm-hmm. And he's painted the globe white with paint and then drawn in ink, like painstakingly in like cartographic quality, all the continents of Dominaria on it. And then he's like, okay, so this is how we came up with the map. We photographed the globe, we made a map out of it with like fucking projections. It's like this long block thing. And it's like, they actually thought about this shit. That's what I like. And that's Games Workshop used to do that as well. They used to do that. And not even like, let's get away from Warhammer Fantasy Battles, like with 40k, you know. And I just feel these days that there's a lot more hand wavy. Just like, this is not important. The game's important.
I am entirely fine with that because it being hand wavy means I'm never gonna have an illusion breaking moment where I'm like, well, how does that work? Like how does, aren't these two cities like 4 feet from each other? Like in Skyrim, if you think about it, like the world is really tiny. Because walking between them doesn't take that long. I won't have that in like Sigmar or 40k because it's hand wavy. It's like, it's a distance and it's fine. I don't need the rigid, like I don't need to know, like I don't want the stodgy Lord of the Rings style. And then here is a map of the forest and then 14 feet that across there.
I understand that, but if you're good in world building, you can have both. You don't need it. You don't need to care about this. I mean, it's not like they write the stories that you have to care about this. It's not like the stories aren't written like this, but they have put that stuff in if you really want to read it. And also, it's not like there aren't ways around this. I mean, on Dominaria, it's like, okay, they had continents like this, and then they went, bam, Ice Age. Like, whatever, 8,000 years later, all the civilizations are gone. Now it's new civilizations. I think they did that on Dominaria a lot of times. I mean, they blew up Dominaria with the whatever that rift thing is,
World Wake?
Yeah, the thing, and then they had to put it back together, whatever.
Shards of Alara, all that.
I mean, it's great. I mean, there's shitty things in Magic lore, Nicol Bolas is... What?
He's the Abaddon of the lore, yeah.
Yeah, but he's like a stupid dragon, and he's like... Also, Jace is an asshole. Jace sucks.
So, like... Back to the game.
It's good. It's the best game. It's got the best game mechanics, and it has the best lore, I think. It's good lore. It's like for fantasy lore, it's surprisingly good. I find. Anyway.
So like, I continue.
So you don't read flavor text, I guess.
I do read the flavor text, and that's exactly as much lore as I can put up with, because it's there's
so good lore in that.
With Theros, it was like, and then this is the Greek cycle, and we're like, cool, fine, sure, whatever.
But don't you feel like even there they're good? Like, you know, they're surprising.
I feel like they're very trite. Like, to no offense, like the artists are amazing and they draw amazing things, but like at some point, I just think of the cards in terms of game mechanics, and the lore just falls away.
Like I'm amazed, because I think if you look at it, and I read all the cards obviously, but it's like the amount of great storytelling they put like in 2 lines on a card, I find amazing. Like that's something that Games Workshop could not. Like, these days can't do. They could do that. You know, when they had in the codexes, they had they just had like 4 sentences and told a great story.
Uh-huh.
And in 40k codexes, they still have that stuff, but it's not as good as it used to be.
So, like, they literally have just done that with the Blackstone Fortress stuff.
Well, they do that, but
one of the characters is like a kind of automata thing, and then it's just offhand mentioned he's not actually an automata, he's a man of iron, and he's like Dark Age of Technology, sentient AI, and that's basically it. Like,
I'm not saying they can't do that. I think
you said they don't do it, and I'm just like, they literally did it like last week. So like, but for me, like, the lore is always just like, so Ravnica's like kind of cool. Ravnica feels like a world. It's a city. You can kind of like imagine a city, but then like the Innistrad cycle is like, yeah, it's werewolves and zombies and angels. Cool. Very generic sci-fi kind of thing. That's generic fantasy kind of things. The Theros stuff is just like genero, like
anything Games Workshop has ever done is completely generic. I mean, so
that's the thing, because fine, but it's a thing they've written a lot of stuff about consistently, and it's like, I play 40k, and then there's just like, it's a thing that exists for more than like a year, right? So it's a thing I can come back to. Whereas like these other things, like then we visited Ravnica for a bit, and then we went away for a while.
I do understand that criticism. But maybe I feel it's a strength, because 40k's problem is exactly the opposite. It's exactly 30 years of lore that does, at the moment where they made Primaris Marines, half of it didn't make any sense anymore.
I mean, it does make sense. If you read the things, it makes perfect sense. It's fine. But I get...
it's a botched retcon that is horrible.
It's not a retcon.
Of course it is a retcon. They're going, okay, this guy's been working for 10,000 years about this thing and nobody heard about this. This is like textbook retcon. That's when you look up retcon in a dictionary. It tells you that. It's a J.J. Abrams 101.
The retcon is like putting units in... it's not. It's just not a retcon.
Well, they're saying 10,000 years ago he did that, but we never told you about this.
Well, yeah, because it was a secret.
That's a definition of a retcon.
No, because a retcon would be 10,000 years ago he made them, and they've actually been fighting in all these battles. We just never mentioned them before. Like, it's been a secret for 10,000 years, and no one knew about it, and now it is being revealed.
Well, they were sleeping, and we didn't.
Yeah,
they were being made, and we never talked about that.
They never appeared in any of the previous things, and we're not going back and adding them. We're not going back to the Horus Heresy and saying, "Oh, actually, the Primaris Marines were there."
Right.
That would be a retcon. This is just storytelling. It's like, and then there's a thing the reader didn't know about.
Yeah, but the 3 times, the 3 times in the last 10,000 years when the fucking Imperium, for all the intents and purposes, everybody thought it was destroyed. He didn't help them because he was like, "No, my project's secret. We're not completely done. I need like more 5,000 years." It's like, yeah, that's not how stuff works. That doesn't make sense.
You can't argue that that's how stuff works, because like nothing works in 40k. Like, how does any of it work? We don't know.
Exactly.
Fine. But I guess maybe the issue I have with Magic is because it all changes so often, like, I see it as entirely throwaway. Because it's like, this is around for a set, and then it is gone, and it doesn't matter, right? Another set will come out, and there will be some more cards.
That was exactly the issue I had with the Age of Sigmar lore, where you were like, yeah, but it doesn't matter, the game's important.
No, because the Age of Sigmar lore exists now, right? And the point, like, there's a still huge. It's happened twice, right? If 40k if Games Workshop suddenly actually we're going to a magic-based thing and we're going to have a new setting every 9 months, then I'll probably be like,
they basically did this. They advanced the timeline. No. They didn't, because they advanced the timeline in Age of Sigmar in a year for like, what was it, like 10,000 years, and now
like
the planes are completely different and everything. Like the fact that they have cities now. When they started, they didn't have cities.
Yeah, but there is still the same characters, right? There's still Sigmar doing his things, the Stormcast are doing their things, there are still dwarves, right? They haven't said, oh, now Age of Sigmar all happens underwater. They've not said that. That's not what they've done. All of the preceding things that happened last year matter now because they created the world as it is now. Whereas in Magic, like, the next set might have some tiny little, and then a planeswalker travel through the planes to this other plane where the current set is, and things happened. Like,
no, actually not. Like, if you look at, like, if you look at the older stuff, okay, maybe the newer set's a bit different, but if you look at the older
things
stuff,
that happened 20 years ago, that doesn't matter. I was 2. It doesn't, like, the storytelling now is like...
Yeah, but I wasn't 2.
The storytelling's like, and then Jace traveled the planes, and
yeah, but they went back to Dominaria, right? And the stuff that mattered in that set was all like stuff in Dominaria, and Dominaria is the way it is because they had Ice Age, and they had an Ice Age, and they had different civilizations, and all that changed the planet. Like,
but then
Ice Age happened because of Ursa, because Ursa detonated the fucking Silex thing. This is exactly the same thing. It's just it's all based
entirely not the same thing.
Why?
Because it matters.
The Phyrexians are still around. They're basically Sigma. That happened in
They're still around, right? But they're not like in. If I'm playing right now, they're not in. I'm not when I'm drafting. I don't see any Phyrexians. Do I?
Yeah. But like that's like saying, the Sisters of Battle are still around. Do you see Sisters of Battle when you currently play with somebody? No,
you can. Because I can still buy the models. I can still make a Sisters of Battle army, and then within the lore,
theoretically,
I can still fight them.
But if you go to a Games Workshop store, and I went to Games Workshop stores for 2 years, I didn't see a single Sisters of Battle model because nobody plays them. Because like for ages they didn't have rules that were.
They have rules now.
Yes, they have rules now, but like there were 10 years when nobody fucking played them. So, in the next set you might have Phyrexians again.
This is an exception, right? You see that this is like you've picked an army and said, oh, because they didn't have rules or didn't have relevant rules, it's like, oh, because they're not powerful in the meta, no one sees them. But you still could, right? If I want to right now build a standard deck, most of the lore does not happen.
Well, unless you do have the cards from like 10 years ago.
If I want to build a standard deck,
well, yes, of course,
a standard legal deck, I cannot put in things that are not in the current 2 years.
That is true. But you don't have to build a standard deck.
If I want.
Well, you can play other formats. It's like
I could, yes. I could go play EDH.
So it's not like it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter in the format you're playing. It's like,
in most of the formats, it does not matter. Like, it matters
until next year when there's like a Phyrexian set.
Yeah, but then I just pick another thing, right? I pick, now, like, I'm in this cycle. Like, sorry, in 2 cycles' time, I say, well, Ravnica doesn't matter now because it's not in
yeah,
like,
but I completely don't understand how this is a problem with the lore. I mean, this is exactly what enables them to keep the game alive for 20 years.
Yeah, I get it, right? I get it, but equally, Games Workshop have kept the game alive for 20 years by doing the opposite. So this is kind of like a moot point. They've kept
one game alive for that time.
Okay, they've kept a game alive. Sure,
40k, fine. Which to be honest has, I guess okay.
I'm done. I'm done talking about the lore because it's so boring.
Well, I don't know.
I do not care about Magic lore. I have been really enjoying drafting. It's very fun. I am thinking about doing it in the real world because it is so good. And there are some issues with the Magic Arena stuff that are like a little bit annoying. It's super great for like drafting whenever you want to play, but because when you're drafting against bots
Well, have you played the other mode where you're drafting against people?
No, you don't draft against people, I don't think.
Yeah, you do. There's like if you know that switch at the top.
The competitive one. No, that just changes like the way in which you play the rounds, right? You still draft against bots.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, there are other players and there's a time limit, right? So I think the first round you draft against bots. I mean, I don't know because I haven't played this. I just watched this on streams, right? And I mean, you draft, then you play a round, okay, but then you draft anymore, right?
No, so like
you just change
drafting,
your deck.
No,
but then you play against another player. But have they also drafted against bots?
Yes, so everyone is drafting against... When you're picking cards out of the pack, I pick a card and I go to the next one, and my deck gets handed to a bot, and they take a card out, and I am in turn handed a deck that has had a card removed by a bot.
Right.
So,
there's a difference between the draft modes when you toggle that switch, right?
So I think that just changes how many games you play.
No. It doesn't. It changes a lot of things because, like the modes I've been playing, I haven't played that yet. You don't have a sideboard, and with the other games, you get kicked into kind of a lobby thing, right? You play more games against one player.
Yeah, you play best of 3.
Right, and then you have a sideboard, right? And you have like a time, and you can change your deck, whatever. So that does change, right? And with the other ones, I think you just play
no. Okay, so
one game.
And the cards that are picked up. My point is not my problem is with the way in which you do the drafting, right? So when you're playing it,
I understand that. I was just
you pick.
To be
you're
clear,
playing with 8 people. You're playing with 8 people, and we all share the packs, right? I'm handing it to people, and then normally you play the person who was opposite you on the table. What happens is that when I'm playing the games, I'm not playing against the people I drafted against.
Yes,
the people I drafted against are robots.
I understand this. I was confused. I was just trying to figure out the difference between those two arena modes, and so the drafting is always the same. So you draft with bots.
I think eventually the idea is there will be in competitive mode. You will be drafting against other people, and that will solve my problem.
I think they don't have enough real-time players to do that at the moment.
Yeah, which I think is... Yeah, because the nice thing about drafting against bots is that I pick a card, and I go to the next pack, and it's immediately ready, rather than having to wait for the person to my left to give it to me, which is nice. It's a good thing, and it's
and
nice
also
thing
you
for
need
a
like 6 players, like you need like a draft pod.
Yeah, you need 8 people to sign up for like an hour and a half, and if I wanted to do that, I could do that on Magic Online. But so... The problem is that the bots do weird picks, and they don't really behave like people do. They don't initially.
I can't tell.
Initially, they've tweaked it now, but you could force any deck you wanted. So forcing a deck is basically picking the cards that go in the archetype you want to play, and if you're trying to force a deck, you basically just you make suboptimal place. I pick a card that is less good than another card, but because it's in the archetype I want to play, but not super, I just pick it and I pass it around, and people sort of by the things they're getting dealt work out that red green isn't open, so I'll move away from it. And the kind of problem I was having is that basically whatever I picked, I could just force that, and then the AI would seem to be they'd move out on my colours, and I don't know, it kind of felt a bit weird. And then also, the kind of picks they were making always felt kind of the same. The algorithm that it was kind of doing to work out which cards to pick was valuing some archetypes really highly, which meant I had a problem getting into it because all of the good ones were being taken. But so I'm kind of thinking I should go and play it in real life and acquire some cards, because you immediately broke and bought physical cards, and I've been holding off on it. I've been looking at it, I don't need the physical cards because I don't have anyone to play it with. But then I was kind of looking around, and then I remembered that one of the biggest Magic kind of shops in the UK in terms of online stuff is in Birmingham, and it's on the way home from work. So I could conceivably go at their drafts, and they draft every Wednesday, which is kind of super tempting.
Just one more question about drafting, right? So, So I don't know if I understand this correctly. So if let's say I wanna play Boros, right? I wanna force a Boros deck. Isn't like the idea that like if there's, I'll just take, like, in the beginning, I'll take the really strong Boros cards so that people don't see, like, the gold cards, right?
Yeah.
So that people don't see them. Then they see, okay, there's no Boros cards, so I'm going to go, is it?
Yeah, that's like, it's like entirely, that's entirely what forcing is.
And so with the bots, my experience is kind of like, I feel like they don't realize that.
Okay.
So it feels like they're still picking.
Right.
Boros. So your experience was the other way around. You think
at least initially, I think I've not seen any patch notes of them describing how they've changed these things. But like, I
they
feel
did
like
change it though. Yeah,
it is better now, but it still kind of like feels a little bit weird. You still get like handed some kind of super strange things. We're like, man, like what the fuck are they taking? Like, you know, they've taken like a common over this like bomb rare that I'm like, man, what? But yeah, it kind of feels a bit weird. And I guess, I kind of like want to go to like do a draft and like talk to...
So do they do drafts at that store there?
Yeah, so like they do. Okay. They do a shitloads of events. They do it every Wednesday. They do a draft of like the latest draft format.
Should be Friday?
So they also do Friday Night Magic, but on Fridays they do Standard and Commander /EDH.
Right.
Which is the kind of like... So... which are more popular formats. Like drafting is popular. I mean, it's on the Pro Tour, right? But it is like less popular because
it's hard.
It's really hard. I'm so fucking bad at it. Like, but I enjoy it because you kind of get to play bad cards, I guess is the way I would describe it. Like, there aren't as many. So. Because you're kind of given a random thing, there's even more variance, and you might get fucked over, and you might just like not pull nice things, which is a bit of a pain. But there's like no one can walk into a draft with the meta deck.
Well, yeah, they don't have that killer combo deck that kills you in 4 turns.
Exactly. So, what they have to do is they have to come into the draft, see the cards they get, and make the best out of the situation. And if they're really good, like, they'll do really well. Like, the good draft players will beat me every time, right? But I like that, because it kind of, like, feels like a little bit more of, like, a kind of fair playing field. It's not... Because, like, I'm going to come into the kind of same problem I do with, like, basically any game, is that I don't have the time or just the mentality to, like, put my brain in the game's headspace for long enough, like, read the articles, like, just constantly think about it to, like, perfect my deck. You can do similar things in drafting. You basically just draft a shitload. You read, like, the things, you listen to the podcasts about, like, becoming better. But you still have to execute that when you go there, and they might fuck it up, and I might have a chance of beating them. It's kind of cool. And I just like it. It's just nice. And yeah, you get to play, like, bad cards that, like, you would never play in Standard, because they're just, like, not efficient, or they don't really work in the kind of archetype that is there. But, like, there are cards that are, like, designed for limited, in that they, like, fill a spot that is good in limited. So, like, 2 drops are really important. It's like 2 mana cards that you can play on turn 2. Like, they're super important, but, like, they kind of, like, a lower power level. So, like, maybe in Standard you wouldn't see them as much or something like that. So you get to play with, like, a wider variety of cards. And because... and I actually, like, thinking about it more, so the rarity of cards being a game mechanic is even more relevant in drafting, because kind of like Mark Rosewater in a kind of article ages ago wrote about, like, how the kind of idea of having rare cards was the kind of idea that not everyone's play experience would be the same. So some people would get the rare cards, and maybe a play group would never see
that's
super rare card. That was kind of like the idea of it, right? But what actually happened?
That was Garfield's plan. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that was Garfield's plan, not Mark Rosewater. So that was kind of Garfield's plan. But because people are people, and they just open loads of packs and just sell them, that failed. But in drafts, it does actually work, because like the mythic rares come up so infrequently. Like,
I wouldn't. Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I mean, it's like, Maru said that. So, but
I don't think even more rare.
I don't think it failed, because if you play Magic with your friends, then it's still in effect, because I guess people go online and buy like.
Yeah, so I guess when I was playing, like that's kind of what we did. We weren't buying the super expensive ones, but like if there was a deck that like required a playset of uncommons, we just, rather than opening loads of packs, we'd just go on like Magic Card. Is it magiccardmart.eu or something ridiculous?
Card market.
Yeah, we go there and we just like order them for like £1 each or whatever, and it would be cheaper than opening boosters, and it would get the job done. So I had this super annoying milling deck that I built by buying things off the internet, and it was really, really good, but not fun to play with.
Well, but then like you don't have to do that. Like
exactly.
I don't do that. I just like open packs, and I've got cards, and I just build like, also I build decks I kind of
I guess
think will work, and then sometimes they don't, but you know.
Yeah, so I guess maybe like
also in Arena I do that. Like I put on the cards that you would probably say are not good cards.
Yeah.
But because maybe I don't know, I just don't. I don't go on the internet and like read like, okay, how do I like? I don't go like, how do I get Andrew Ellenbogen's deck and then play exactly like him because he's the Pro Tour champion. That's just like dumb.
My favorite Magic podcast that I mentioned last time, Limited Resource.
By the way, I will start listening to this, because the guy who does that was on the Pro Tour, and he was my favorite caster, like him and Marshall Sutcliffe, and he did some casting with a guy called
Louis Scott Vargas.
No, Scott Vargas was playing, so he wasn't.
Okay. He was in this match.
He was in the final, actually. Yeah. No, he was casting with what's his name, Such Gallic.
Okay, right. Not BDM.
No, BDM was quite cool as well, but like, is this Pedro Such Gallic?
I can't remember, but yeah, Marshall Sutcliffe is really good. But my favorite.
Wait, I'll look up. I'll look up his name. Anyway, I need to look up his name now. But you keep talking.
My favorite thing they do, which like is so much beyond me, and it is a skill I do not have, but would love to have, is that at the beginning of a set,
Eduardo Suchgalik. Him and Marshall Sutcliffe, they did an amazing job casting. It's really good.
Like that, the Wizards team for like all the casting is just like phenomenal.
Their casting's amazing, isn't it? Like it's really good.
It's like and it's been amazing also, for ages.
The production quality is really good as well. Like how they show you the table and everything.
So this is, I don't know for sure, but I think it's entirely from poker, because I think it's basically the same sort of setup. You're looking at a table, you're looking at cards, and you have loads of the same, like people who play poker also play Magic and vice versa. So that there was just like an easy, someone saw that like there is poker on TV. We can do this for this other card game we really like, and it kind of like it just translates perfectly. But on Limited Resources, when there's a new set, once all the cards have been announced, and you know all of it, they do a set review, which is about 6 hours long. They go through every card in the set, and they give it a ranking on how good they think it is.
Sorry, what? Where?
On Limited Resources.
Okay, right.
So they go. It's entirely in the context of Limited. So like,
as a podcast, right?
As a podcast, it's like it ends up being like 2 or 3 podcasts broken up, but it's like 6 hours of them just going through these cards, talking about how they work, talking about where they're useful, and then going like, oh, it's an A.
What's a 6-hour podcast?
It's ludicrously long.
And people complain about my shows. What the fuck, man?
It is. I do not.
I love it. I think it's great.
In the moment, I can visualize. Like, okay, I can see why this card is good. Like, it's overcosted, or it's like really good value, or like it's excellent removal. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But they move on to the next card, and I've already forgotten the name of the previous card. So what though? And then
you need to have. So my trick is, I do that for Maro's podcast as well, right? Have Gatherer open. Mm-hmm. And look it up, because like my memory is just like visually, so I'll remember the art, so that works.
I'm exactly the same there. So they go through it and they give it like rankings and stuff, and then people kind of use that as a resource to like help them draft better, right? So you open a pack and it gives you like a nice a framework to work with, to be like instantly, rather than having to like evaluate every card every time. You're like, oh man, I know that's an A, that's a really good card, I should pick that, or like these are the potential first picks. So it lets you just draft better. And I wish
I have
I could,
now subscribed to this podcast, by the way.
I wish I could do that because it's an amazing skill. And then they put it into practice like every week because they do this segment called Cracker Pack, which they've been doing limited resources for they're on like episode 300 and something now.
No. 467.
Holy shit. Oh my god. So they're on like episode almost 500. And they've been doing Cracker Pack since like episode 3 because I'm going back from the beginning and I'm just listening to them all.
Well, also, they have other episodes of 474 in all, apparently.
Wow. That's mad. So at the beginning of every episode, they do a Cracker Pack where they take a pack from the current packs that are being opened.
Do they have just boosters lying around? What?
So Louis Scott Vargas, I think, runs Channel Fireball, and Marshall Sutcliffe, like...
Oh, so LSV's on there as well. Okay,
yeah, he's on... Like, they do not want for cards. And they have a Patreon as well, so, like, they buy things. The Patreon's kind of cool.
Dave, I have an idea for a podcast.
The Patreon's cool because, like, after the Cracker Pack, after they've opened the pack, they, like, basically send all the contents and stuff to people. But they open the pack, and then they talk through, like, their first pick, which is always like super useful because it's like it's kind of what I want from the real world kind of thing. I want to like, I want to be able to like do a draft and then talk it through with someone who knows what the fuck they're talking about, and be like, where the fuck did I go wrong? Like, man, I saw these cards, but I picked this one, and like, was that the right thing? And they kind of they do that on the podcast every week, and it's like, yeah, this is cool. Like, I feel like I'm understanding what it honestly feels like one of those lectures like at university where you're sitting there. And like in the moment you're understanding it, and then you walk out the lecture theatre and you have fucking no idea what they were talking about, but you knew you understood at one point. And like that's what I want to do. It's like this lovely kind of like cool problem to solve in the game. The disadvantage of limited is that it is expensive, and if you want to play, you have to buy 3 packs or have 3 packs to bring.
To be honest,
which is actually. It's kind of like, what's it, like it's like 11 pounds?
So people say Magic is expensive, right?
Yeah.
And I bought a lot of cards.
Yeah.
You should see that table. That table was full of Warhammer previously. It's just full of Magic cards right now.
Yeah.
And it is expensive. But if you're coming from Warhammer,
yeah,
it really is kind of cheap.
That is the annoying thing with my life.
It's always a matter of perspective.
It's such a first world problem for me to have. But like all of my hobbies are like ludicrously expensive. So I should just pick one and do it. But what I do is I bounce between them. So yeah, Magic is.
I've just paused Warhammer. I've just paused that and just keep buying Magic cards.
Magic, is. If you think about it, if you think I am buying cards, bits of cardboard with stuff printed on it for like £3.50 for like 16 cards. I'm like, that is madness. But then you do it, and it's like, actually,
it really isn't because
if I cut out some bits of cardboard and gave you them, you would be like, that is not worth £16. But
if it's good cardboard, it is.
But the fun you get from it is probably worth it. And
no, I seriously think it is
because take a long time. It's comparable to going. It's actually quicker than going to a film.
No, I seriously think it. Yeah, because films. But yeah, I seriously think it is. You know why?
Why?
Because like if you talk about Warhammer, it's like bits of plastic. There's like there's boxes of 6 bits of plastic for £30.
I think Warhammer
or €30 or whatever.
Way worse if you think about it. But that's why my pro tip comes in. You're thinking about it too hard. Stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about how much it costs.
Buy the cardboard.
Consume.
Have fun.
And buy the cardboard. And have fun. And yeah, I'm kind of like...
Engage in capitalism.
I came very close to ordering some of the new 2018 Commander decks. I don't know if I mentioned it previously, but so Commander is like...
No, I'm not a fan of Commander, but still, yeah, okay. It's not my thing.
Commander is like kind of my favourite, but kind of also really annoying in that it was invented by some Magic judges ages ago, and they called it Elder Dragon Highlander. And that is because you have... So, oh my god. What you do is you make a deck of 100 cards. You have 99 cards. They're all different, apart from basic lands. So you can't repeat the same card. And you have a commander or a general who leads your army and isn't in your deck. He's in the command zone, and you can cast him at any time. and the kind of requirement, like the restriction is that every card in your library has to be of one or more of the colours of your commander. So it started off with the Elder Dragons, because there were like some of them, and they all were multicoloured gold cards. So you'd pick like Nicol Bolas, and you'd build a deck with all of Nicol Bolas' colours. And that's really cool, and I really like it. And it's really, really fun, because you get to do some absolutely broken things that are ludicrous. But the problem is, other people can also do that. And if you spend loads of, like, the ceiling on how much you can spend on a commander deck is, like, very high. Because, you know, there's a lot of expensive cards you can put in to make broken things happen. But, like, they sort of made it an official... So it was an unofficial format for a good long while. But then they made it an official format, and every year now they release, like, 5 decks.
Like,
pre-built decks. And some of them are really, really good. Like, I used to have them before I sold all my Magic cards. I used to have, like, 2 of them from, like, M14. And they're really kind of cool, because they've got, like, multiple generals you can, like, swap in, and they're nice. But the current round of them, like, the generals are planeswalkers, which for some weird reason I just don't like. I look at it and go, no, that's madness. Because I think deep down in my head, every time I've played a planeswalker, I've like never done anything good with it, because everyone's scared of planeswalkers because they're really powerful cards, and you can like not quite easily, but like they become an extra person you can attack. So rather than declare an attacker against me, you can specify that like you declare an attacker against my planeswalker. I can still block and stuff, but it sort of just, they have like 5 health. And but it doesn't regenerate.
Reska's cool.
Yeah, like they're really cool, right? They're really, really, really cool. But I'm just like, no, I don't want that as my general, because in my head I'm irrationally thinking that they'll just get disappeared immediately or something. I'm just like, I don't know. It's a bit of a shame. So I might wait till like the next round comes out next year, maybe, or maybe just like,
you know, the lesson here is
consume. Yeah. Don't sell
your Magic cards, which is what I did. Although, for me, it's not as bad, because I think I have more now than I had back then. They were all German. So I don't miss them. I have English cards now, of course. But, like, still, don't sell your Magic cards. I mean, they don't need much space compared to all the Warhammer shit, so just don't sell your Magic cards.
I guess. I don't regret selling my Magic cards, because I completely fell out of love with it. And you say it doesn't take up much space, but like because like if you're gonna like play standard and try to like keep up or whatever, it does end up taking quite a lot of space. Like it grows, and like a constant fraction of it stays relevant generally, and then a lot of it sort of just like cycles out. And like if you're playing kitchen table Magic, like that's kind of cool, but like we weren't as much, so
just don't put it, like, here's another tip, just don't put it in binders.
God, yeah, honestly, pro tip, don't put things in binders, because it just makes you just sad.
Well, you can put special cards in binders, but
put your rares, have like a small thing of like, here are my trades, or like things I'd be willing to sell, or like cool valuable cards, like just things like I had like a page of art, like lands I really like the art of. But
I have a foil of Hunted Witness.
Nice.
Which is a Palumbo. I love him.
So yeah, like do that, but like don't put all your cards in binders, because like that, it makes making a deck easier, but like it just kind of makes you sad as you're like flipping through, like I need to find that one fucking card, and you're flipping through all these cards, like, man, I never use these fucking things, they're trash, why do I even have them? But if they're in a box under your bed, you don't have to think about them. So
David Palumbo is great. I love his art. He's the guy who did Thibble. You know that I recently discovered. I looked this up. There's another Palumbo artist for Magic, and is he? God, I have to look this up now. No, I can't figure out who's which. Is Daniel Palumbo? Anyway, there's another one. I wonder if it's his brother. I couldn't find that out. Did you know that? What's it with names? Denman Rook, friend of Char's.
Oh right, yeah.
He did 1 or 2 cards for Arena.
Oh, nice.
So one of the first cards I drew from a booster pack, I started playing Arena, It said Denman Rook, and I'm like, what? I follow him on Twitter. What's going on? What? Anthony Palumbo. There's also an Anthony Palumbo. Weird. Anyway, so the art's amazing. I always thought like back in the day, the art of Magic cards was good, and it's come such a long way. I mean, if you look at cards from '95, they look shit compared to today, and I always thought they were good, but today, I mean, there's oh my god, there's
definitely like a stylistic change that, I mean, it also happened with like kind of like 40K as well. Like back when they came out, I wasn't around, so I can't really confirm that this is what happened, but like the art styles were sometimes way more abstract or like way goofy, and then over time they have become like more like
I think it's
beautifully.
I think you're generally right. So they're more photorealistic now.
Yeah, they're like more detailed. But
they vary it a lot. Like
so like
if you look, there's still like really old school ones. They obviously recycle old art. There are some that are drawn like in the old art style. It always depends on the set a bit.
But there's generally there are cards that you think, man, I don't like that card as much. But there are like no cards now that like are just ugly. I just like, fuck, that's horrible. When you like go to like some of the super early cards, they're like, oh my god, it's still better than I can draw. But like compared to now, no,
there's one card that we can draw. Look at me, I'm the DCI. You know the one Maro draw. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Is it called Look at me? No, I'm just gonna look up. I'm the DCI. It's just like a stick figure. It's really fun. Look at me. I'm the DCI.
Yeah. Okay. I could draw probably.
But look up Novice Knight from M19. That picture is seriously. When I looked at it the first time, I thought it was a photo. It's from somebody called Jong Jae Choi. It's the artist. It is so good.
There's that style that's like, is that Avatar? Is that from Avatar?
Look at the cloth.
Yeah,
and the lighting of the face. It looks like a photo.
Bloom and it's good.
I'll put a link in the show notes.
I still have a soft spot for Avacyn, Angel of Hope, because
Avacyn.
She turned up in Avacyn Restored, and I went to the pre-release where you play sealed. So rather than drafting, you just get given like 6 boosters. And then you just make a deck out of it.
Oh, that's good. That's very 40k as well.
Yeah, and I pulled that in the sealed. I was like, this is amazing. This is my first sealed event, and I pulled like this. Like actually, like I think at the time it was worth quite a bit. I ended up selling it, but like it was just like, oh, Magic is good. And yeah, it's got this art style that like it could be on a Dan Abnett fucking Gaunt's Ghosts thing. Like it's just lovely. I love that.
Once again, the lesson here is don't sell your Magic cards.
Yeah, no, I do kind of wish I'd maybe kept my binder of like primo,
the good stuff, right?
The good shit, yeah. But basically, like that just all got sold and turned into Netrunner, so which I played.
Did you see? Have you ever seen the card Notion Rain?
Notion Rain or Notion Rain?
Notion Rain.
Rain.
Rain as in water from the sky. Yeah. It's from...
from Kills Ratton. It's so cyberpunk. Yeah,
Isn't that completely cyberpunk?
Yeah, it's... Oh my god. That has to go in the show notes. Also, this is a card...
I'm putting them all in currently.
It's like a misheard lyric. Every time I hear it, I hear Notion Ring. Like a ring you put on your finger. Every time.
I thought you meant rain as in raining, as in the king.
As in some jewelry every time, even though I'm like, oh, Notion Rain, that one with the cyberpunk artwork. I'm so fucking stupid. But yeah, that's good. I like Notion Ring. It's
very Matrix as well.
It's so
love that.
Maybe I do have to just buy some fucking boosters. Nut up and buy Magic cards.
Just nut up.
Oh, it's good.
So basically, I saw that Arena was coming out, right? And I think Joe was talking about it on the Discord, and I started playing it, right? And it didn't, like, I started playing it, really liked it. Didn't take me 3 days until I started buying cards.
Yeah, I think I've gone like almost a month at this point and not bought cards, which I think is
That's
for me
pretty hard going.
That is like
that's some serious
self-control that I don't normally have.
Discipline there.
That is mad discipline.
It's
but honestly, like it, and like we were talking about it on the Discord. The way they've done like the user interface is really fucking good.
It's so Arena is great. So basically, what it is they looked at Hearthstone, went, we're having that, and then took that. But it's better than Hearthstone because even though they like basically copied all of the user interface, they copied the way you open cards, which is very Hearthstone is the first digital, like this is the first game to got that right, like digital trading cards. But it's better because it's a better game. They have more cards.
And the art's
they have a better art style. I mean, okay, Hearthstone has the they have everything animated because they're like 3D things anyway, and they never had real cards. Yeah. Whereas Magic has real cards. I guess they have to animate certain things, but it still looks a lot better, and it's more varied, and they have all these sets. And also, I really like the way they did it with the cards so that you can't trade them. People really hate that, so you can't trade them as a Magic Online. But I like the system with the wild cards. I think it's a good idea. I really think it's good. I
don't know how. I love it in the sense that because you can't buy them, there's not going to be some mad price inflation of cards.
Exactly, and also no legal trouble because it's gambling.
It's very good. But my problem with the wild cards is that you don't get them quick enough.
That is a good point. But I feel like it's such a good feeling. It's like, oh my god, I've got a rare. I want that card. You just click and you get it.
Yeah, that's nice. But like,
I had a few wild cards, right? And I was watching the Pro Tour. Mm-hmm. And there's certain cards they kept mentioning, and so it's like, oh, really want that card. So click, bang, have got that card. Really, sorry, yeah.
But so, it's not happened to me because it involves getting loads of like mythic shit. But like I don't know how it works because so in physical Magic, say I pull like the best, most expensive card in the game, and that is now worth money, and I don't want it. I can sell that and buy things I do want. And then, or if more in a better comparison, I've already got 4 of them because I've opened 400 boosters and I've pulled like, I now have like 5 of these amazing mythic cards. I can sell that one and buy loads of the cheaper ones. But on Magic Online, on Arena, if I do open loads of packs, or I've got wild cards in the past, and I've got a playset. I've got 4 cards of the best card in the game, and then I get I open a pack, and it has a 5th copy. I feel like that should give me more progress to the mythic. So I know there's like different tiers of wild cards, but I feel that like the best card should give me more progress towards a mythic than, say, like a crappy mythic. So in the past, like there was Tybalt, the crappy planeswalker. Like he's worth jack shit. He should give me less progress towards the progress than the other thing. Yeah, I guess they can't solve the problem.
Well, they can't because they don't know how much the cards are worth.
Yeah, because like they could just like take the price from physical Magic, but that's weird and like that one.
Yeah, what source do you take? I mean, what you get is like if you have if you get the 5th of a card, it goes away, and then it says if you get enough of those, if you get enough 4s of like cards, then you unlock something called the Vault, and then you get a certain amount of wild cards, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're that then enough in there. I think you should get more.
Yeah,
but then on the other hand, you get a hell of a lot of free cards.
Oh yeah,
just by the gold, just by playing it. I mean, you don't get free cards in Paper Magic.
You can get free starter decks from stores, but
not in that amount.
Yeah, not in that. Like, also, the amazing thing is you just get all the lands for free. Which, like, admittedly, you just buy one like Christmas pack or like one big box, and you're sorted. But you still have to buy that in the real world. So it's nice. That
so they just made lands.
But my problem is my problem is just this tiny little tiny edge case that if you have pulled 5 amazing legendary creatures or cards, then I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel fair. But equally, I'm like, I'm never going to do that. That's never happening.
When's that going to happen?
I'm not. If I'm gonna spend hundreds of pounds on Magic cards, there will be physical Magic cards, so I can sell them.
I don't really want to sell them. I've signed up to Card Market, but it's basically just, there's some cards I have 6 times. I need to get rid of at some point.
Yeah, so that's the kind of like I can't yet find a low barrier to just getting rid of trash cards. So like there are some places in America where basically you just like send them a big stack of shit and they'll sort it all for you and tell you how much it's worth. The only ones I've found so far in like the UK are generally like you have to do the sorting yourself and looking up prices. That like the local store, they won't buy anything that's like worth less than £1, and I'm like, part of the thing I want to do is just get rid of the shit ones. Like I don't like if it's worth 4p, I don't actually want the 4p. I just want to not have the card anymore. And I want.
Why don't we come up with a thing like where we meet once a year and everybody brings like the Magic cards they don't like, and then we'll just do something like a bonfire or something.
Here is my stack of crappy commons that I do not want.
We'll just meet in a holiday, like in a lodge or somewhere with a fireplace. And we'll just fire the fireplace for the weekend with like the Magic cards we don't want.
I think the problem with that though is that there's like a plastic layer in the
middle. I think so. Like glue, like special glue.
Yeah, if people listening haven't heard, like Magic cards like had a big problem with like forgeries basically because they were worth money and people were forging them. So there's like a lot of copy protection in the Magic card. There's a little holographic thingy in the middle. There's like this blue layer of gluey plastic bollocks. Which I don't want to burn.
But you can only figure out if the cards
by destroying it.
Yeah, by ripping it up.
So it's kind of like I don't want to burn that because I might die. I might get like horrible carcinogens. But yeah, I kind of want to have like maybe that.
What else can we do with it? Like invent a game where you kind of like flick them, or
you just
destroy Magic cards.
Yeah, like I kill your thing and then you have to rip it up.
If you have a really good idea, send us.
Send it in. But so there is one kind of cool thing that like happens in physical drafts for like newer players. So like if you turn up to a draft and you're like, oh, I'm brand new to Magic. Quite often, like the people who draft a lot, like they get a lot of cards, and because they draft a lot, like if they're playing the same deck, they'll get play sets of things they pick regularly quite often. Or maybe they just don't want to keep their commons or whatever. They'll call it like, I think they call it like, I don't want to call it draft slag, like from a blast furnace, but it's like draft trash, like just like the kind of leftovers. Like they'll just like happily like give it all to the new player, being like, you don't have any Magic cards, but now you have like everything that people on the table didn't really want to keep.
Now you got all this shit.
Yeah, but like when
welcome to Magic.
Yeah, but when you're like a new player, like that's super nice. Like I had that in I had some people give me some of like their things. They were like, "Man, I don't need any of this crap." And I was like, "Cool, I'll have it because I just need cards right now." I have like a starter deck and that's it.
I'll take nice. all the totally losts you want to get rid of. I love that card.
It's fantastic.
I'll just paper my office. That'll just be the wallpaper.
Make a cape out of them. I guess the kind of like the last thing that occurred to like just was weird when I was like listening to the podcast, Limited Resources, was they've been going on so long. I'm on like episode 10 or something, but one of the episodes, Marshall talks about Google Wave because it's just been released, like it's just gone into beta,
My
And
God, I had forgotten that it existed.
I just had this moment of like, holy fuck. Like, not only am I old at this point, I'm feeling like, I remember when that came out and I was excited. But like, this podcast has been going on since then, which is insane in my like, that's one of those moments you're like, oh my God, they have been drafting for a very long time. I mean, I think at this point, Marcel's gone through like 4 co-hosts. I think Louis Scott Vargas is like the 4th.
Wow.
Brian Wong, I think about 250 episodes, I'll get to Brian Wong, who is my fave. He's great. I think he went to work for Wizards for a bit, and I think he's doing other things now. I think he's gone to work for Bitcoin-based stuff. But,
God.
But like, he's just funny. Like, it's just a bunch of funny guys. Because Magic's really good, Fab. I fucking hate that you've got me into it. This is like
good.
This is like 2011 when I got you back into Warhammer.
It's great.
This is the revenge. This was the 7-year long game. Like, fuck you, Dave.
Now I need to find the perfect... Isn't there a card called Revenge?
I'm almost certain.
Must be, right?
Revenge.
Oh, there's Demigod of Revenge. Gaia's Revenge. Revenge of the Hunted.
Oh, there's nothing just called Revenge.
It's Squeeze Revenge. That's what I did to you. Squeeze Revenge.
That is one of the ones where I'm like, that eye's a bit... It's actually quite good. It's just kind of small.
It's from Apocalypse. Also, the card is choose a number, flip a coin that many times, or until you lose a flip, whichever comes first.
I love. Oh my God, this.
If you win all the flips, draw 2 cards for each flip. Wow.
Which is like insane, but like it's kind of like that is one of the mechanics that when Hearthstone came out, people were like, "Oh, Hearthstone can do all these mechanics you just can't do in normal card games." And they're like, assigning damage randomly and things like that. It's like, no. Magic's been doing that for ages. It's just it's really awkward, but we have been doing it.
This sounds like a Maro card.
It's insane.
I love that. So what I love about Magic is like that you can. I actually played it with Katie a bit. And it's like, she never played before. Mm-hmm. And the basic rules, what you do and how a turn works, are pretty easy. It's basically like chess, you know, about maybe less than chess, actually. But then there's so it's really easy to learn, like the framework for the game, right?
Yeah.
But then there's all the crazy stuff on the cards.
Yes.
So Katie was saying her least favorite thing was the fact that you had to read so much, like all the shit that's written on the card.
There's so much to read. Yeah, I mean that is one of my kind of metrics in card games for how good a card is. It's just like if it has loads of text, it's probably great. Like it's probably really fucking good. Oh yeah, but like, have you taught her about the stack?
No, we're not.
There was a time before the stack.
I remember that, yes.
Happened weirdly.
Well, the stack's very easy, to be honest. You just put a card down, then you put another card on top and whatever.
Yeah, and then like and then they resolve top to bottom, and then like that makes countering things actually possible. But like I love like just all of the things they've put in to just make it like a robust system.
Well, I gave her my green deck and I was playing blue, so there's no countering there. Mm-hmm. You know, there's no double countering, to be honest.
Yeah, she can't counter your counters.
Green, yeah. Well, yeah, that makes it sound bad, but I lost 6 out of 7 games, so I gave her my better deck, I think.
Oh man, yeah. No, I Ellie's not interested in it at all, so I'll have to go to play with other people. So, oh no,
that's okay. That is okay.
Shall we do the mountain of feedback?
We should. It's been a long show. Although we didn't talk about like. Oh, let us open. We should do that. Next show, I just should bring like a booster. Where it's like.
Oh yeah, that's actually a fucking fantastic idea. We should do crack a pack. I'll be like, I don't know what one to pick because I'm shit.
Yes. This card looks interesting. I like the picture. I'm gonna pick that.
I really like that one.
Yeah, we should do shitty drafting with Dave and Fab.
Oh man, that'd be so good. Right, feedback, because time is a thing, and we have 15 items of feedback, which I think canonically is the most we've ever had.
It's been also a long time since.
It has been a long time, and it has been 2 episodes since some of these. So, there's 2 bits from Grellbar in the Discord. He says, I feel like the Crate and Crowbar voice-based scoring system is the best. So
for video games, right?
For video games. And so on. Which I kind of agree with. I think that's really good. I like that.
But the problem with that is for Fallout 76, you have to picture me because it's basically soundless. Just like Patrick Stewart, Picard, just like having my forehead in my hand.
Just the sound of slapping your face.
So,
Fuck. Yeah. And then he says, if we had a Friend-style episode title, episode 72 would be the one where Dave wants to blame computers for shitty people, which I think is an amazing episode title.
That's better than it's pretty long, but yeah, it's very concise.
Was exactly what was happening.
Yeah, on point.
Then from
it's long, but it's concise.
It's long but accurate. Then there's Shori
that's what I would say.
Repper. Please correct me on that pronunciation, because I have fucking no idea.
Shori Repper the rapper.
They've been in Discord a lot, which is cool, but they say episode 73. So good to hear Fab and Dan together again. Now, damn it, Dave, get on that next time. You're doing the Lord's work. Yeah, we are doing Satan's work. Telling you to buy card games.
Yes. Buy more Magic.
This is my favourite bit of feedback, Fab. It's from this guy called Mega Slippers. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Interesting. He was on Twitter for a while, but then he disappeared.
He left, but I think he might be back. But he says not enough Warhammer on 73.
He is right. But Magic's the new Warhammer, so you should be happy.
There's enough on this episode, and we did also talk Warhammer as well. So there is
so
that.
Just for the Deep Lore wiki, Magic is now Warhammer. Just
Whoa.
Just so you know.
Nicholas will be fucking fuming.
It's a retcon. It's a retcon.
That is a retcon. I will allow that. We should have an article on what is and isn't a retcon.
The wiki thing, yes, we should.
Then there's N. Donigan. That is again, I don't know how to say that. Says, listen to the last episode, which was 73, and the question of what distro Google are using came up a few years ago. They live upgraded all their servers from Red Hat to Debian, and then gives us a link to a post about it, which I read. But also, there's a presentation. Where there's a guy talking about the insane upgrade process that Google did, I think in 2013 or maybe 2012, where they took, I think, Red Hat 7.1 and then updated it to a 10-year later version of Debian, which blew my mind.
Debian, but okay.
Well, Debian, sure. I say Debian because I'm weird.
Her name was Deb, so Deb and Ian.
Also, they're .debs, aren't they? Boo, I'm so stupid. I'm very bad at words.
No, a lot of people say that. It's just one of my pet peeves. So.
I should stop saying Debian. I should say Debian because it's .debs.
Yeah, and Deb. Her name was Deb. Deb and Ian.
That's annoyingly sensible. Shut up.
Debian. Anyway.
Then Jonathan on Discord was enjoying my chat about Jira, which is the first time anyone's ever said that. He said, 372, I like the discussion on GitLabs, Agile, etc. It provides insight into what the software engineers at work are up to with their Jiras. I'm glad someone cared. We've got Jira on the wall now. We've bought big 4K tellies and we've put Jira on it. And it's
Can you just hack that and put the magic...
I might have just
channel on there.
Just Twitch magic.
Watch Pro Tour. Did you see the final?
I have not. So is it on? Sorry, it was streamed on Twitch, yeah. But is it Is it
the whole Pro Tour is on? I watched the whole Pro Tour over a week. I watched every game.
I might have to work out which one is actually the final because I've watched lots of the stuff from PT.
Just watch the final. The final and the semi-finals. They're so good.
And I couldn't find one with LSV in it, so I'll have a look at that.
He did an amazing play, I think, in the semi-final, where basically, how was it? His game hinged on the fact, so they were both playing White Weenie. I don't know what the card was. It's one of the cards that wipes your board state.
Okay.
Anyway, so basically his winning the game hinged on the fact that you had to get the other guys. I think it was Jeremy Desani, the French guy, to get him to attack him with all his creatures. So he basically had to bluff him or like sell him on this attack. Yeah. And he does it. It's so good. That was like their play of the Pro Tour. It's really worth watching.
Sounds
anyway,
grand.
Back to feedback.
Terrell
posits. Terry Lay. No.
Terry Lay.
I was making that up.
It's Terry Lay. I ship it now. Says, the fastest gun is better than Monopoly. Fight me. And he's not wrong.
What is the fastest gun?
It is a game from like the 70s where it's like a Wild West shootout kind of thing.
Okay, I'm sold.
So Fab already loves it, but it's got this bonkers mechanic where like you put the board has got holes in it, and then like you put your cowboys on the holes, and there's like a disc you rotate underneath, and the disc also has holes in it, and you rotate the disc around, and sometimes the holes in the disc line up with the holes in the board, and your like cowboy falls through it. And they've like died. So like in the shootout, you basically just spin the disc until like one of the guy's cowboys falls out. It sounds like I would
Russian roulette.
Yeah, I've played it once, definitely. But that's more times than I'd play Monopoly. So I'm not going to fight you, Terry Lay. I entirely agree.
All we know is Magic is better.
We do. I will agree also there. And then the last bit from Discord, Joe of the podcast says, slowly working my way through the episodes. If you've replaced Dave's PC, microphone, connection, and software, have you tried replacing his face? It's the only constant factor. Please don't.
I think we need to do that because today we're recording on Skype to change stuff up, and it was working for 1.5 hours, and then completely went to shit in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, which I guess is an improvement. I guess.
To be honest.
Yes.
You're just trying to talk your way out of us replacing your face.
Don't replace my face.
Yeah, I know. I kind of like your face.
It's alright.
Face is likable.
There are worse faces. It does look like a baby face.
You are Mr. Babyface.
I am still getting ID'd buying beer, Fab.
Well, if it was just your face, I could understand that. But then you're like 2.50 meters tall.
Yes,
so that was no.
It's reaching a whole new level now because now they're like, oh my god, you're 25. Are you getting bored of this question? Are you getting bored of being ID'd? And I'm like, yeah. Also, I'm bored of this conversation because it happens so fucking much.
Also, I tell you something. People under 18 aren't 2 meters tall.
Yeah.
It isn't physically possible.
It's just like, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Do you want to do the tweets?
I'll do the tweets. Oh god, I need to front load them here. I haven't opened them. My god. I can't talk anymore. Anyway, we have, oh god, that's the name. He could be on the Pro Tour. Pedro Beck G. Costa says, episode 73 was awesome. Please have Method then again in the show. Really missing your talks since LO. I will endeavor to do that.
Indeed.
He is game. I think I've got him lined up for another episode before the year's out.
And also listen to Tales of the Unattested as well.
Oh, yes, definitely. And Hollywood Outlaws.
Ooh.
It is a good show.
That's a tease for something that's happening in the future. More episodes, but yeah.
Yep. I'm listening to Geek News Radio. Linux Outlaws reunion. The nostalgia for LO is real. I missed you guys.
That was from Michael
Albertson. Sorry. Albertson? Albertson.
I put an extra T in there. I can't read, Fab. I'm very tired. And
it's all good. I'm just reading it on Twitter.
Michael Albertson is a .NET developer.
Johnny Albatross.
Absolute lad. Yes.
Nathan Chantrell says, enjoying listening to Emergency Linux Outlaws, aka Geek News Radio, number 73, just like the old days. I hope people like the... Dan was suggesting I'll put like an emergency sound in, so I did my best. And then we have Stephen Howell. Great to hear you guys on a podcast together again. Thanks. And Nicholas says, this is outrageous. I was just getting ready for bed, and now this? I was releasing the episode kind of late.
Also, they came out kind of quickly together.
Yeah, that too. I wanted to get them out before I left for the US.
Yeah, so the content was hot and fresh.
Yep, and X1101, also very, 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 very old friend of Six Gun, basically listening to shows for ages. Replying to 72. Awesome, I needed more drivel in my feed again. Thanks, guys.
I hope you've enjoyed 2.5 hours of video game chat.
Yeah, drivel we can do, as evidenced.
Proven by my reading of names.
Well, and us just fighting over lore for
it's not
an
retcon,
hour.
Val. It's not a retcon.
We'll get back to the magic lore discussion.
But I need to come up with like an actual reason why I don't care. But I need to work that out. The final piece of feedback.
We'll need to discuss Urza for like 3 hours.
No.
It's fascinating. Urza's fascinating to me.
The last bit of feedback, Fab, from the one person who paid attention. It's from a person called Marcus. We don't know their surname.
On GitLab.
This is on GitLab. You can go to gitlab.com/sixgun/GNR/issues when we release an
link in the show notes.
When we release an episode, an issue goes up on there, and you can post comments, and then I get emails. It's great. He says, great episode. Fab. Not only is the big show still wrestling, there are also The Undertaker and Triple H with the occasional match, and even HBK wrestled again a few weeks ago, although it's debatable how good that is.
That's not good, because I am still mad. I am still mad at Shawn Michaels, for the record, because obviously the Montreal screw job. Fuck the Heartbreak Kid.
The best thing about Shawn Michaels HBK coming back is you get to hear his intro music. Sexy boy. It's so good. I fucking love it. Because
the only better one, he's an ass man.
I love Sami Zayn's intro. And there's one called Glorious, and I can't remember whose intro that is, but Shawn Michaels' intro is fantastic, and it was weird how I learned, because I learnt like the words for it from the Yogscast without knowing what it is, because Simon would sing it all the time, and I just learnt, and I assumed it was a song he'd come up with, and then I like Google the lyrics, like, oh, it's a wrestling intro. So it was like, wow, the world is a strange place. But yes, anytime Shawn Michaels comes back and he gets to play that music, I
actually think the best. I actually think McMahon has the best intro. I love that. You know, the no chance, no chance in hell. You've got. Love that. So good, and obviously like all the Rock intros.
Yes, yeah.
But
true.
recently I've been watching a lot of women's wrestling. I just love Becky Lynch.
Yeah,
Becky
she's
Lynch
got
is
banging intro
amazing
as well. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I just like, I don't know what it is, but like,
Is it the ladies in small underwear?
it's not
Just
simply that. It's also that they're beating the shit out of each other. It's weirdly, I don't know. It's fascinating.
I'm sure you could Google
Also
things and
a little
find-
bit arousing.
Yeah, you could probably find things on the internet. That's probably a thing you could do.
It's they're good as well. They've got like
they're totally
what I
getting
like. They have like different story. It's like the women's championship. Like it's a different slant on things.
It's getting a lot better than it was.
Yeah. It used to be horrible. I mean,
Attitude Era was just problematic. That was just like
just even before that, like I listened to Wrestle Me, the stories they have about early WrestleManias. It's so much worse. But it's like Charlotte Flair is like really good, obviously, and it's like the storylines are just funny to me.
They're pretty crazy.
And Becky Lynch is Irish, so it's also really good. I kind of missed the whole steampunk vibe she had going on.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, if you're in steampunk, it was like, oh, steampunk on the TV.
But like her versus Ronda Rousey is like one of the best matchups. It's just really good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
was that it?
I think that's all the things. We have to thank Bitemark for providing hosting for this podcast. We remembered it this time. If you would like to email us, you can do so at feedback@sixgun.org. I think that now somehow links up to GitHub. GitLab.
Creates an issue, yes.
Yes, which is cool.
Well, that creates what that does. So we have an internal project that people can't see. So this will create an issue for us. The issues we were talking earlier, they're public. They're linked in the show notes. If you want to give a public comment, you can do that. But this is just for us, so we...
if you have
because I get the emails, I lose them.
Yes,
in my
and
inbox.
They are almost entirely people wanting to get us to put spam content on the website. It's fantastic. You can tweet us collectively at Geekness Radio. You can tweet me. I'm at Megaslippers. I'm on this new thing called Twitter Fab. It's amazing. You should try it out. What you do is you type words in, and then people shout at you. It's really good. It's fun. There's lots of horrible people there, but there are some nice people too. You should
at
try
Fabs, Foxtrot Alpha Bravo Sierra Hotel. Follow me for freelancer stories from January. Also, if you need people to write shit, I'm your man.
Would you like to watch Fab stream Magic the Gathering in a Star Trek uniform?
You will.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and mash that fucking... ring that bell.
There certainly will be your Patreon, so we can buy more booster packs that I can open on stream.
Oh, that's the dream. That's the dream. And if you find your 9 to 5 at work really boring, you should join the Discord, where people who also aren't doing work talk about things. It's really
great.
good. We are starting to get people outside of the kind of EU time zone, so it's like a little bit more lively when it's not 9 to 5 in the EU. And also, people are using it on the weekend, which is mad. There are like things going up where normally it's literally dead. The bringer of cakes often is like, oh, everyone's gone home for the weekend. And like the last couple of weekends, it's been pretty good.
The Discord even survived the big channel purge that I instigated. I just had to.
Cabin chat will always be in our hearts.
It will always be remembered. But we do have a card game channel now.
Yes, there was a debate as to whether like things like Arena and Keyforge and all the other gubbins should go in board games or video games. So we just made card games, and it's format agnostic. So yeah,
that is format agnostic cards. It's digital and paper.
And paper. That's true.
Cards.
What if they're made of clay, Fab?
Then it's clay cards, tablets. I don't know. I've been thinking about starting a Magic podcast. I want to call it Totally Lost, because that is both my favorite Magic card and also describes me doing Magic.
It's a good shout. You should have Flibbit.
He is on fab.industries. If you can find him. It's a bit
and he's
hidden.
also an emoji on the Discord.
Yes, I did that today. I just had to.
We made Nicholas lose his mind with just posting it. He was like, what the fuck's happening? Who is this thing? It's good.
So good. It's great to be back.
It's good. We've got many episodes coming up, and as such, you should remain skillful.
Yes, the plan is we will fulfill our obligation to have 2 a month, so we'll have to record quite a bit before Christmas, but we will try. Until then, all hands to battle stations, all hands to battle stations.
Set condition brown throughout the ship.